Series E.
Series E.
Series E, Apex Legends.
Apex Legends.
Series E.
Series E, Apex Legends.
Series E Apex Legends starts right now. Welcome back, guys, to Intel Week here at Series E. Jamerson joined once again now by T Squared. We missed you tomorrow. We missed you yesterday. Tomorrow. Oh man, I don't know what's going on with me, but yeah. How you doing, my friend?
I'm doing well, man. Doing well. Well rested after my first day off of Series E, but I'm back for the pro day. Can't miss the pro day. I'll let the amateurs play yesterday. I'm here for the pro day.
We had some exciting games yesterday, but we're going to have some more. That's right. Today is the pro night. And so we're going to have 11 teams joining our partner teams today. And this is where, of course, our partner teams are really tested. And we get to see how they have been kind of improving over the last couple weeks of Series E. So let's go ahead and take a look at the regular format here for the pro nights. We do have some changes. Of course, we're going to be playing 6 matches here during the pro nights. We still have the same prize pool. It's $500 going across first and second places, respectively. $300 for first place and $200 for second place. Our point system is going to be exactly the same as ALGS, though. Of course, placements matter. 1st through 15th, that's where you get placement points, and every single kill will award you another point as well. And it's about being able to just both get placement points and get kills. Here are all the teams that are going to be competing today, Tom.
And the teams are stacked. We know Team Liquid won the LCQ. We had a lot of great performances. I thought that one player that stood out to me was Tempest. Tempest was absolutely killing it for Team Intel. So when we're going to be looking at Team Intel, it's going to be awesome to see what he's playing, because I'm not sure what he played yesterday because I didn't get an opportunity to watch, but he was playing Crypto during the LCQ, and he plays Tempest typically plays on Watson for Team Intel. So I'm not sure what they're going to do. He could potentially play anything, but I'm looking forward to it because we know the playoffs are coming up. All the teams are going to be taking this extremely seriously because there's so much money on the line coming up in a couple of weeks.
Yeah. I believe also Farmer Lucas was able to make it through the LCQ as well. And so it's great to see, of course, a lot of our players here in the Series E being able to succeed in the ALGS as well. Just like the ALGS, of course, we are only playing on World's Edge, and this is the tentative drops for our squads. But we saw last week during the Pro Week that this map really wasn't the case when it came down to having the pros in the lobby. When you have teams like a Third Impact consistently contesting you over at Survey and Epicenter, maybe you don't really go there as Cheez It. When you have teams like, I believe, Liquid and CLG going over to Skyhook, you might get contested. So Razor changed things up. And so things are going to be different here than from what we see on the map right now.
Yeah, Cheez It, if they're stuck over towards Epicenter, Survey, Refinery, etc., they need to focus on going somewhere else probably. If there's an open spot on that area, they should take it, but they need to check to see if No Name's taken, because if No Name's not taken, yeah, it's not the best loot, but it's better than avoiding a 50-50, because they seem to do pretty good, but when you're getting contested by Third Impact, and Third Impact is such a good team, one of the top teams in EU, it's not something that you want to do, and that's why you struggle with points. And there's a handful of our partner teams that have been 50-50ing, so that's what makes this day so interesting, is they continue to drop on one another. I think Applejacks too as another notable team. Jamerson, if you know any other ones, let me know, but those are the two that kind of stick out to me.
Yeah, Applejacks generally do. They got contested yesterday a lot, I believe, as well. I'm trying to remember exactly where like our EU teams have been landing and forcing teams to go elsewhere. I remember like a couple weeks back, Cooler were contesting Rockstar down in Lava City just because, you know, TSM's in the lobby as well. And so they don't want a 50-50 over East and things like that. A lot of things.
I sorry to cut you off. I just remembered that there's Pop-Tarts and Team Navi go Fragment West, because you were talking about the teams that were over on the EU side. And this, I immediately thought of Navi, and then the interview that we had with Team Pop-Tarts. And that's another team that's being contested. So I don't know. It's tough when you go and you put the EU teams in there, but if they're going to, you know, bully you out of there on the NA servers, then that's something that you have to deal with. Maybe you go somewhere else.
Yeah, this is the long game, right? Like, so eventually when we get to LAN and such, and we do have the cross regional stuff going on, you have to be able to establish that dominance early on. This is Team Intel, though, and it is Intel week, and they had a fantastic performance yesterday. Just was not able to match the consistency of Team Razor coming out. But they still had some great games. And it was great to see our two of our partner teams doing so well. But last week, we have to remember that during the pro night, it was basically the EU show. All of our EU and our CIS representatives were performing so damn well. And so we'll see if maybe if NA can step it up this week and give us a better showing.
Yeah, I'm just looking at this damage, and it's pretty funny when you look at Tempest has the most kills overall, but Hill basically doubles his damage. So Tempest coming in, cleaning up all of the kills basically, and you'll notice that that's what he's doing on the Watson or the Crypto, whatever it is they're counting on him to come in as the last player alive, clean up these fights, and it's going to be Hill and Tempest going and initiating throughout all that. So it's really important, and it's not it's a very slim margin of error. It's probably, a 50-50 that you call it, but it's almost like baseball where it's like if you could hit like, 400 or something like that, that's absolutely insane because everyone's right around that like 250 range. So every time we watch Tempest and he's the last guy alive and he's cleaning up these fights, I would say 80% of the time he's actually winning these. It kind of reminds me of Snipe Down on TSM, how he's able to get it going. So we'll see where they go. We'll see where they land. And if they get contested, typically they do go over towards Sorting Factory. I don't know if that's the case. We'll see.
Yeah, it's definitely important to, of course, uh have your anchor there and being able to clean up these kills. The fact that he is able to clean them up is very important here. But here we are on board with Team Intel as it looks like they've changed things up. They are going over to Frag West, and so we'll find out in just a moment if Navi are here as well. I mean, this is something that we've seen happen where 2 to 3 teams will go over to Fragment West. But right now with the split coming out from them, they've got everything. Pop Tarts, of course, we saw them make the adjustments going over here towards Overlook as well. And so we're seeing our teams making the adjustments, but Fat Fruit Ninja already in a fight, taking a lot of damage there, forced to bat up. There's one up top, it looks like, on the yellow tanks, and it is going to be 303. Challenge them. Scissors is the one on the high ground right now for 303.
It's interesting that Scissors is electing to go and take the high ground instead of getting armor, and that just goes to show you how annoying Pathfinder can be. But that's a big initial damage and burst coming out from the Pop-Tart side. You can see the battery and cells having to be popped over for Senpai. And this fight could end up getting third party the longer this goes on, and that's why Yuban decides he wants to go in charge, realizing that they all have blue armor now. He's going to have to take a different angle, but when you go and have this advantage with the amount of shields you have on the Pop-Tart side, you should be able to win this no matter what guns you have, but they're taking a lot of damage. Fat Fruit Ninja is going to have to stay alive. Blight has to stay alive. I believe it's a 2-on-1 situation right now. Is Fat Fruit Ninja is the last guy alive, and Scissors was able to find an armor, so this would be a huge win for 303 if they're able to get this.
It's just a 1v1 now, but Scissors got the HP advantage, and that's all it takes. One pellet from the Mozambique to finish him off, and Team Pop-Tarts are out. I believe Team Razor are currently fighting as well up against, I might have been Applejacks? I'm not entirely too sure. Never mind. Well, okay, yeah, against Team Applejacks over here at Geyser. And this is what we were talking about, the contest going on with the teams trying to find the drop here during the pro night. And really, this is the situation they're gonna find themselves when it comes down to basically playoffs and such. Mr. Hackula going in now. He jumps up top. He's got the Mastiff out, and with the help of his squad, they will be able to get this win. With 18 squads now left in the lobby, we can get a better look at what the ring is looking like. It is pulling up towards the north. If we could take a look at the map, that'd be fantastic.
Team Applejacks, what's up with your guys' names, man? Can't even tell who's who. It's pulling up towards Survey, and it's going to be more like Epicenter Hill is what everyone's going to want to play. A couple teams are going to come on the back end side towards Skyhook. And now we're looking at what Liquid's doing, and we got Hodsick coming in hot over here with the gold armor. Love to see Hodsick in Series E, and it's the first time I've had an opportunity to cast him, so this is going to be fun to watch, and he's filling in for Albrelli and also for Casper, so an awesome player in his own right, and had an opportunity to team with him too for one of the ALGS. He taught me a lot about just kind of prioritizing where to set up in zones and how to take different routes and kind of poke your way and pride your way into the areas that you need to be to set up. So it's a lot's changed since then. This is more of a brawling type of composition, obviously, with Bloodhound being introduced, but I don't know if you got a chance to see the LCQ, Jamerson, and how slow it was. This game kind of slow as well. As we take a look at a fight finally happened. Rice Krispie Treats and Sentinels going at it. Senox immediately with a couple of knocks, and Stunny's going to get out of there immediately.
And this is why a lot of teams just kind of give Sorting Factory a wide berth to try and avoid Sentinels, but it's 2 brains, 1 controller that do like to set up in center zone, coming all the way over from staging, I believe. And right now, got some decent cover to work with, but there's a lot of fighting going around. Just to the north of them, I believe that's going to be CLG taking on Balong's third impact. And CLG have already gotten 2 knocks, I believe, as Team Cheez-Its Nades will get that knock, or excuse me, the finish on to Balong. Here's TSM, not too far away as well.
Oh,
but
no.
sniped out. Careful, he's down to 2 HP. The bubble is there to cover him, and he will be able to get that med kit off. Reps needs to stand in the front line for him just to make sure no one pushes up, and Snipe Down will be able to safely recover, but that was kind of a scary situation to be in.
Yeah, that was a pretty delayed bubble too. I wonder if Snipetown had to ask for that one, or if Reps was scoped in and there wasn't much communication going on, because I would have been absolutely screaming like I got scared on Halloween at that point. Snipetown, you know, you want to get damage with that scout, but in scrims and in tournaments, especially in these scenarios when you're a Bloodhound, people just hit you with the 1, 2, 3 go, and they shoot you at the same time. Next thing you know, you're down, and they could just end up getting charged if the bubble res has to come out. So scary moment there for TSM, and PL in a tough spot. Whenever you have to rotate towards fragment and you have to come off of these top train tracks, it's not a good rotation that you have to make. You can never run past the train tracks. You have to go inside the building, just like E-Boy Ronnie's doing. So smart route by E-Boy Ronnie, and also Bambino on the Caustic. I do like seeing the Caustics here in NA. I think that's a very underrated legend. It's not being utilized that much, so we'll see what Bambino's going to be able to do on it.
Yeah, Nestle Pure Life, one of the other teams that we were talking about having to change up their drops with Team Liquid in the lobby here, being contested over by Tree. Not quite something they can do. And you can see, I don't know exactly where they dropped for this one. It might have been over by Train, but their loot has suffered for it. Coming through into Frag East with triple whites. Take a look at the ammo situation as well for Dracos. He really doesn't have much to work with. He does, of course, he has the purple mag on that Hemlock, which is fantastic, but he doesn't have the ammo behind it really to work with that. Third impact still in a lot of trouble as Nesh has gone down now to Serdell from Cooler. Here's Team Intel that are setting up now over in Survey currently with the defensive bombardment coming down from Hill, getting closer and closer to evolving that Evo shield. Unfortunately, no connects there with that one, but it's kind of odd not seeing too many people around here. Ooh, Nasky taking out his Strafey.
Super odd to just sit here and be in what I would consider the best building and have it for free, and nobody's really contesting you. So I'm not sure if it's actually going to pull over towards that side, or if teams are really just playing edge right now and getting in all these skirmishes as we take a look at what's going on with Cooler, because they're in one right now all over towards the Skyhook side. But this is just one of those rotations to get into Survey. That's the thing. This is one of those backside areas that you can go through, and there's a couple different spots that you could go through, but we know a team like Team Razor always sits in those train track areas, and that looks like what Cooler is trying to do, pressure there. But they know that there's so many different spots that you could go through, and they also could go and scan beacons, loot up all this area, and they're just in a much better situation like the teams that we saw in Shambles, like you were saying. Only 86 shots in the Hemlock they had before. So when you're running around here and just feeling free to hit beacons and get all this loot and crafting, this is a pretty decent situation to be in for Cooler.
Yeah, they'll definitely be able to really utilize the crafting if they wanted to. Get some extra meds, get some extra ammo. Definitely the ammo situation. But Dell, oh my goodness, designed full. Able to just take him out. That G7 Scout, Nasky will be able to get the fast res onto him. But now here, it's Designful in trouble as Yuki peeks with that Mastiff. takes him out, equalizing things up, gentrifying. Got bursted there. His thermite doing a lot of damage as the wide swing comes out from Cooler, but here they are. It's the full send into the bubble.
Wow.
And Cooler just take out Solafide. Rockstar in a fight themselves here just north of No Name currently, though, as Matt Pickett has already gone down. Rakinishu was considering going for that defensive bombardment, but he gets the knock onto Walkie Slush. Why are you guys making me say these names? But here it is, defensive bombardment now down. We'll see if Matt Pickett can survive as he is popping that bat. And it looks like Rockstar will be able to stabilize.
Doesn't look like they have a generator right now. Otherwise, Pickett would be putting that down instead of healing because so many grenades could fly in. But I've never seen Solafide Amesis lose a fight like that. Cooler went absolutely nuts. Designful rips him apart with the scout. You see the door get caught. Next thing you know, Yuki just wins the 1v1 through the bubble so clean that it looked like Solafide didn't really know what to do once everyone started to push. When the fight was over, all of Cooler was full health, which is absolutely insane when you look at the amount of talent that Solafide possesses. But take a look at Sentinels, and everyone's got some weird names besides Senox. So Senox, hats off to you.
Ooh, Team Razor though. They just lost Mr. Haculo. Mercy does answer back, taking out Senox, and now it's all up to Retzi in a 1v2 here. As the Arcstar barely, narrowly missing. Well, Retzi, gosh, I hate this so much. Sarah Tricky will be able to get that thirst, as Retzi does get chased down now, but it's so difficult to see when you're on the edge of the ring like that. So Mr. Haculo should be plugged right back in. He's got all the loot as well. And this is basically what saved Team Rockstar, you have to imagine, who are just north of here right now. We'll see if they try to get aggressive off of this. There's an opportunity for Matt Pickett and company to come in and try to clean up Team Razor.
The great thing is right now for Team Razor, this isn't round 3, just round 2, which means they're going to be able to heal through this, get all of that loot, just like you were saying, and pick exactly what weapons they're going to want to have. So nice fight there from Team Razor. Again, that's what they specialize in, these small skirmishes, but Sentinels does too. So just great job there by Team Razor, and they continue to prove that they're #1 in points overall from Series E for a reason. They're just so strong when it comes to these team fights. Now we look at another team that's great at team fighting, Cooler, and what they're doing, and now people finally starting to filter into Survey, but I thought that they would be doing that a lot sooner. Now we look at fights again happening on the edge. Cheez-It in Refinery. I don't know many times I've seen Cheez-It fight in Refinery. They barely make it past this side of the map.
Oh boy, Rakinishu does get taken out by Casella, so Team Pringles getting involved in this as well right now, as Rakinishu just bleeding out, and Casellas will be able to finish him off with that wingman. So we'll see if there's an opportunity to try and bring him back into this one. There is one more respawn beacon over there by Epicenter for them to use, but you know, they've got Team Pringle sitting in the wings waiting as LG finish off Jazz, and that might be third impact out. We are now down to 14 squads remaining. Pringles are slowly trying to creep up on this squad, but they're playing the safe. They know that multiple teams are still in the area right now, so they are maintaining this position. There's another squad on the high ground, on the ridge, just northwest of them, as Hundreds does get tagged, and he elects to just back up off this, heal up, and maybe just find another angle on I believe Team Cheez-It here, as they continue their push up now. Here we go, Hundreds right on top of the box, and he does get Rakinishu's loot as well. So Rockstar now playing as a 2-man.
Yeah, and you could see how he's kind of poking and priding with that R301. Didn't have a scope, so to be able to get the 3x off of Rakinishu's body is actually really nice for 100. So I like that aggressive play. Looked like he was kind of looking for a wrap, but also looking for loot at the same time, and that's what you like to see out of your Wraith. You want to have the Gibraltar and the Crypto stick together. They kind of hold this rock, and then it's up to Wraith to go and present opportunities as we look at Cheez-It just kind of picking up the crumbs there, the Pringles crumbs, putting them in their Cheez-It box and getting back to where they were at. So
yeah, can we go back to Team Pringles right now? They just got the ring for us, so I would love to see that, as Cheez-It's still in engagement over here on the northern side, and they're just going to try and gatekeep that one for now. They back off. Hambino will just heal up, but they do thwart that. Looks like Razor do finish off Team Rice Krispies. Stunny going down. We are now down to 13 squads remaining.
Yeah, and I like how Cheez-It's able to hold these hills. We were talking about the importance of locking these down, so they're going to be able to split this for a while, but teams are going to collapse on both sides. And they're in one of the most powerful positions right now if they're able to lock this down. And the fact that Strictly's on the Pathfinder, they're going to be able to play these rocks and kind of bounce around. So this is a great job by Cheez-It just coming over here, sharing resources, and now they're just going to be able to hold this until we find out exactly where this one's going to close on to, and if it is going to end over towards Survey. Because if it does end over towards Survey, there's about 3 different endings over towards this side.
Yeah, this is a flex position for them. That'll afford them the opportunity, of course, if this goes over towards sorting or even down towards epicenter, to be able to pretty safely play in. Rockstar, though, just holding the angle now, waiting for that push, and here it is, the aggressive bubble onto Crummy, who will be able to just back away with the Q. Matt Pickett is there to hold things down with that triple take, and that's who you want watching over your shoulder right now, Matt Pickett with that triple take. And so Cheez-It, they tried to get aggressive, but did not get anything off it. Honestly, didn't lose much as well, so it's fine for them, as it's more about the positioning and holding this down to your own.
Yeah, and it's almost like you have 2.5 players or 3 players really with the gold armor. I would definitely take gold armor as a duo over red any day of the week. So this is good in terms of being able to poke and kind of have a presence and being able to bully teams out. But looking at Razor's positioning, they realize they have to take a fight because this pulled far away from them. So pings are going down, and there's multiple teams in the vicinity. Hackla is going to have to pop the phase there and get some information on where this dome's going to be placed. Looks like there isn't a dome coming in for Zeratricky, so it has to be on cooldown, and somehow they find a safe spot in this rock as the dome finally comes down.
It's TSM right on top of them as well right now. Hal just waiting out for the bubble. He doesn't have much ammo, but he's got enough to try and finish this team off. But TSM elect to back away from this one. It was a little bit too dangerous for them. A lot of fighting taking place right now as Team Cheez-It got pushed by Cooler and Rockstar. They lost one to Razor as well, so I believe it's just Crummy currently was able to find that kill onto Hambino. Ronnie will be able to finish that one off, as it looks like NPL have found themselves in a spot of trouble as well, with Razor taking out Dracos. Now here's Razor on the western side of the map. They have to be careful of the caustic gas. They push down from the low ground, secure this kill. We'll be able to get the armor swap, but Zeratricky is in desperate need of some heals with the bubble going down. TSM just breathing down their necks currently. Rockstar did get finished off throughout all of this, as it looks like even 2 Brains 1 Controller have found themselves in a fight with Team Liquid right now. Nocturtle going down, Hotsick as well. TSM just continuing to hold this and trying to whittle down the numbers on the western edge, but now they start moving in for the zone with 15 seconds left to go.
And you could see TSM's strategy here is they know that if they're going to play this Gibraltar Bloodhound composition, they have to play edge, but sometimes they find themselves moving towards the centers. So they were really and literally the final team on the edge, pushing all of the fights in front of them, keeping all of the action there, forcing teams inside of one another, and then they just come and collapse and pick off the free kills, then ping exactly where they want to go. But you see a nice positioning coming in for Liquid. They're going to run around and try to work as a 2-man, and you see now's the fight having to come through for TSM, but it's a late bubble, and Tech rips reps apart with the Hemlock.
Yeah, everyone just getting caught in their animations as 2 Brains 1 Controller thwart the push by TSM, but Hill with the finger roll on that nade gets the knock onto Noct. And now Intel holding out a great strong position here on the western edge. I believe that's Razor that might be below them currently. That's going to be the full 3-man push down as Nasky finishes off Hakulo. Liquid still alive in this one for now. Intel, the ring does pull away from them, but they've got 1 minute and 20 seconds to work with here. Good thermite to get him out of basically behind the rocks. It was actually NPL that was there. E-Rat Ronnie trying to survive for his squad. Unfortunately, does not make it. Does get top 10 for his squad at the very least. That's 303 now losing members. Oi Senpai and Scissors gone all up to Fury here. Again, with 55 seconds left to go, Intel now need to start making their way into the zone.
I love the way that Tempest plays Watson. There, he doesn't really have much to do, can't really peek out, but now we look at what CLG is doing as Cooler's getting into a skirmish with LG too, but CLG trying to bounce back after disappointing performance from the LCQ. Glad to see them here and ready to duke it out again in Series Z as they push into a team. Great flank coming in for Pau as the rest of his team there to follow up. This is going to be Liquid dropping. Nice flank there from CLG, especially Pau getting the free shots.
Yeah, our CLG finally the converts on the Gibraltar train here. Vaxlon picking that one up right now, but Two Brains, One Controller going for the push. They got the knock onto Madness, and they are continuing to push onto CLG. They have lost tech throughout all of that right now as Bowser's starting to take away from that Thermites. It's Pringles with that high ground position now, slowly closing in on them. Defensive bombardment, but they're right in the corner there as Hundreds keeps applying the pressure onto that knock shield with that R301. Has to watch his back though as he's taking too much damage. Has to fall away. Looks like Two Brains, One Controller now afforded an opportunity to try and reset. Here comes Team Intel though with the aggressive bubble. They hit for purple with the Thermite now, only onto the one as Teen taking some damage, and he hits the wingy shots, taking out Hundreds, and he will continue to push now as they drop down to the low ground. It's Bowser's to take out Casellos. So Two Brains, One Controller clapping back, getting their revenge on them, and they will be able to finish them off. Bowser getting that last kill onto Stink as well. But now it's our last two squads. Two Brains, One Controller. They got the crossfire set up by Team Intel right now, and Two Brains, One Controller are just slowly being poked away at as Hill gets the knock, and they will be able to finish them off. Team Intel take the initial win here during Pro Night of Intel Week.
Did they even miss the entire time, Jamerson, for the last 2 minutes that we were on their screen? Ridiculous shots coming through with Teen, with the Wingman, with the Mastiff, hitting for hundreds, hitting for 79s, 41s, 47s, popping off. Ridiculous gameplay from Team Intel, stealing the high ground behind from Team Pringles.
Yeah, it's the power of the sponsor week, but we're going to go ahead and take a short break. When we get back, we'll take a look at the results of game number 1 and then go straight into game number 2. So don't go anywhere, guys. You don't want to miss any of the action here at Intel Week for Series E.
He's one shot. Bloodhound behind you. Focus Gibby, focus Gibby. He's one. Gibby dead. Wraith. Wraith dead. Bloodhound last. Nice, good job. Hey, what's up? I'm Hill. I play Apex Legends for Team Intel, and you're watching Series Z.
Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, to Series E here for Intel Week. And now we just had a fantastic game number 1 for Team Intel. So let's go ahead and see how much KP they were able to pick up, along with the placement points, of course, here on the leaderboard after one game. Again, with a 6-game series, it's very important to pop off early. And so Team Intel, they can rest on the laurels for a little bit, but they still have to finish out strong. Let's go ahead and take a look at the leaderboards if we can. because we want to see the points for that. But it looks like we don't have that quite ready. But anyhow, fantastic job by Team Intel really being able to control the north hand side. And we get to see, again, why when we have these epicenter zones or refinery zones, it can be very important to hold that ridge line north of epicenter.
Yeah, that's a common zone right there where it ends kind of right in the middle of those crates. And the Gibraltar defensive bombardments actually start to become pretty useless because the amount of icicles that are over there. So you saw an early rotation over towards Survey. They were rocking it over there, just kind of charging up their Evo shields. They realized how uncontested they were because they were fighting. There were so many teams fighting over towards the outside that they just weaseled their way up towards the hill, kind of looked where other teams were starting to set up, and then use their zone knowledge to predict where that one was going to be. And I love that late flank to come around over towards behind where all the action was, filter the two teams, Two Brains, One Controller, and Team Pringles down towards one another. And just the shots coming in from everybody on Team Intel were amazing.
Yeah, they were lighting everyone up, and you were saying it didn't look like they were missing. And honestly, it looked like they were just in Kovacs right there. They were under real no pressure because they found perfect timing there on that last fight. Two brains, one controller. They were getting pressured, and they alleviate the pressure for that. But yeah, we got some replays from game number one. It was action packed basically all the way through, just like we know, like during our pro nights where there's going to be a lot of contesting on drops. We had a lot of fights in the early game. This was a mid-game fight going on. It was 303 just poking away while Sentinels were fighting up against Team Razor. Team Razor ultimately able to win this one out.
Yeah, and you could see they had the advantage at a certain point. It was a 2 versus 3, but as soon as the armor swap comes in, the bait and switch stopped, and I don't think they were expecting such aggression even after the finish coming in for Team Razor, but that's the amount of communication and trust they have in one another that they're going to put damage down throughout all that. When CLG had this nice flank immediately after this, they end up getting third partied. So it's unfortunate because you see they didn't even take much damage through all this. Pa was the most weak out of all that, and he took about 50 damage, but the flank was just so on time. And you see Intel being on time too. This is the final moment of the game basically where they just again pushed everybody in, and what one shot was missed throughout all of this. When we watch what Team's doing, it's just awesome to see a lot of players rocking the wingman on Team Intel. I think that Tempest had the wingman with the digi threat through all that. So when they have the wingman, it's a nice, medium range fight. And that's exactly what you're looking for right there. A lot of players are rocking the Hemlock, rocking the Scout. But if you're, strafing and using the wingman and you're hitting your shots like that, I really do feel like it's the best combination to have with the wingman Mastiff if you're strong with it.
Yeah, it can receive constant nerves, but the wingman just hits different, and that's why we've seen it's kind of been like the go-to weapon for almost 2 years now here in Apex Legends, and particularly in pro play, as we know how practiced a lot of these players are with it. And so we currently don't have the leaderboard, or unfortunately.
All right, looks like the leaderboard's going to pop up here soon, but
Okay.
either way, we're gonna know that Team Intel most likely should be towards the top hand side throughout all this, and they are. So Cooler picked up a lot of kills too, but 22 points, not as much as I was expecting overall for Team Intel. As we look at a lot of teams that picked up the big old goose egg, unfortunate for them.
Yeah, it looked like Team Intel was just playing a little bit more conservatively there, just getting to the late game there. Cooler did find themselves in a lot of fights. We saw the early game fights going over at Skyhook, and of course, taking the fights during the rotations. There was a lot of poking going on. I believe we didn't get to really see it from their perspective, so don't know exactly what happened. One thing that is a little bit daunting, especially if you're the rest of the lobby, is seeing Two Brains, One Control there in the already in the top 3 position with 18 points currently. And this is a team that if they play consistently can easily take a W. This is a team that honestly should be signed at this point with how well they play, how consistent they play so far. And so, when it comes down to relegation time for Series E, this is a big contender.
It's definitely the number one contender, and there's a couple other teams that come into mind too, especially a team like SIZ that we saw throughout the process during the LCQ coming in, and I think they took 5th place overall, just barely beating out a team that came in 6th. So Two Brains, One Controller, I agree, their knowledge in terms of being able to find the zones, but also just their team fighting in general. And it's nice to see Knock come through and have such great performances after being the number 1 ranked Apex Predator a couple of seasons ago and continuing to be very high on the placings. Now that's the overall cumulative standings, which again, Team Razor is just so dominant when it comes to our amateur day, and they tend to play good on our pro day too. But Team Intel's starting to creep up there, and you can see why with that performance they just had.
Yeah, Team Razor almost every Tuesday post up like anywhere between 80 to 100 points, and they've been able to basically farm that one. It's about getting more of the experience here during the pro nights, and I think they're showing their stuff. They are able to team fight up against some of the best of them, and we got to see them, of course, take that fight up against Sentinels. There's a huge clutch factor on that squad. But we're seeing Team Razor really being, put to the test, having to basically learn new drop, learn new rotations, having to adjust that way. And so having two different kind of play styles, depending on the night, is super important when it comes to playing in the ALGS.
And I'm not sure how many teams actually go into the relegation. It's 4 or 5, but that's why that race between 4 and 6 is so close. And you can see that's probably the tightest race that we have in between NPL Rice Krispie Treats and Team Pringles. So one or two of those teams is going to have to go through that process. And I really feel like those teams there probably can make it through. But I'm worried for a team like Team Cheez It, Team Pop Tarts. Again, when I look at Team Cheez It, they're stuck in refinery a lot. They did have that zone over towards that area, but they need to be able to survive and dominate that area and kind of own that if that's where they're used to landing. So I really want to see them pull through. I think they have the capability, but again, this is a very tough lobby. I think that's probably one of the strongest lobbies that we have when we add the top 4 EU teams coming in and playing in the NA servers.
Yeah, with the amount of time left, it almost just feels like Razor could brick out and still not even make it into relegation with how consistent they've been across the first half of this season. But of course, they're not going to. This is a team that's, every player's consummate, competitors, but they just play so damn well almost every single damn day. So it is going to come down to that fourth, fifth spot there. Team Pringles, Rice Krispie Treats. It's so weird to say that some of these teams are going to have to battle for their lives essentially once we get down to relegations, because there are different weeks where they can pop off each. It's just you need to be able to do it more than once. Right. And that's what Team Razor does. That's what Team Intel has been doing. That's what Team Rockstar has been doing. It's about that building up that consistency and making sure that you're always playing your game, which is what our top 3 teams currently have been able to do. I think one thing that kind of works to the detriment of Rockstar right now, currently, especially when it comes to the Pro Night, is of course they're playing down on that southeast side of the zone, right there, all the way over at Lava City. So when they're making these rotations, they're making the rotations up against some very, very strong teams. You have Sentinels in your way. You have Team Razor in your way now as well. And so it becomes that much more difficult. I sometimes even they often run into Rice Krispies down there as well. And so you have to learn how to navigate the mid game there when you're a team like Rockstar and you're playing on the fringes of the map.
I swear, whenever we have Series E, the zones tend to pull over towards north, and I'm wondering if that's just how it is, or if just zones tend to go north more often than not. And when we watch Team Rockstar, they're constantly having to rotate fairly far, and it's never a dome zone, it's never a Lava City zone anymore. Sometimes Geyser is like the south that we go down, Sorting Factory sometimes, but I really like to see how they play and how they're able to get out of certain situations. And you know, once they're on, they're just as deadly as one of these other teams, that are on our pro teams. And I think their highest placing overall is 4th too. But I think the most surprising thing for me overall is to see T Rice Krispie Treats sitting in 5th place, because they've won an ALGS tournament. So when we're talking about popping off and steamrolling and going through, they went through one of the best runs that we've ever seen. So I know they're fully capable of pulling that off. But we've seen a lot of teams improve, and a team on your screen right there, Team Intel is one of the teams that have gained confidence throughout a lot of this time playing through. And again, I was very, very impressed the way they were able to execute in that last moments of that game there. They really played that well.
Yeah, did a fantastic job closing out game number 1. Didn't pick up as much KP as we thought they did, but still getting that dub, getting that early win in a short 6-game series is super important. We're talking about variable drops and teams having to adjust on the fly. This is definitely one of them. Poor Sorting Factory getting contested by Sentinels meant that they decided to go over to Fragment West, and didn't look like there was a contest up against them there. And so they got that for free. So Don't know where Navi may be going for this one, because typically when I see Navi dropping over a Fragment West, they're taking the north side of it. They take all those buildings up north and allow a team to take the construction building to south, but Intel had all of it.
Yeah, Intel, if you give them loot and you give them a free spot to land, they're going to do phenomenal. And they've really struggled finding their landing spot throughout all this process. So now that they are able to get their feet under them and be able to take their routes and know exactly what's going on, this is going to be a good place to be. And it's weird to see teams fighting at POIs that aren't that great. Overlook, Geyser, etc. Those aren't really spots that I would say are good. And there's the fight with 303 and Pop-Tarts, an early knock going on to Blight, and I'd be feeling extremely confident if I was 303 after they fought them and they had the armor disadvantage and still won.
The craziest part here is how Pop-Tarts took such a, I would say, greedy kind of path. I mean, what is Fat Fruit Ninja doing all the way out there by himself currently? As he does get a knock trades for Euban, but now he's going to be fighting into a 1v2. Only has that white armor to work with as well. So this is going to be difficult. They can just hold now and really just pressure him. He does have the scans to work with as the push comes out. Only hits for the 17 on that bolt. Goes for the massive, hits for the 56, the 42. He's one shot. No, one more pillet will finish off Scissors. Actually took two more to finish him off there. And now, as he gets shot up, has to be careful climbing up from that truck. And he does go down. 303 now. 2 for 2 here on the 50-50 over at Overlook.
Some nice moves there from Fat Fruit Ninja, but it's just too strong from a 303 Gibraltar Senpai with the bubble res. Knew it was going to be a 2-versus-1 situation. That's exactly how you want to do it. No reason to go and take that 1-versus-1. As we see what Applejacks is doing, maybe they landed over towards Geyser or took some of this loot over towards the sorting factory side. And we know there's a couple of teams that do like to land over here, so we'll see what happens. This is a very interesting fight at this point of the game on this side of the map.
Oh, good. Spray down. Mercy only will go down, but Zeratricky is in the area to answer right on back as they get the thirst as well. And here comes the res out. Surprising. No bubble there. Fortunately, Mr. Hakulo does get back into the triangle building now as he's trying to push on out. As charge rifle shots ringing through. Mr. Hakulo goes for the peak, hits for a lot. Now he is ready to push, and he's got his team full and healthy to go with him here. Hakulo going in from the left-hand side, and the rest of the squad pushing from the right as well here. But they've got to be able to take advantage of this, but you know, the team on the other side, Team Applejack, should have been able to reset and heal up now, and so he's going to have to do that damage once again. They are starting to get away, but Zeratricky and Mercy Only are here. They're going to clear the buildings real quick, as Mercy Only now has that scan for himself. Maybe we'll pop that one down. Fortunately, he might have allowed them too much time to get away, but hey, he's going to still chase after him.
Yeah, and I'm wondering where Team Razor actually landed to find themselves in this type of situation in skirmish, but Zeratricky helping them get out of that situation, and they're fortunate no third party came throughout all that. And we look at where the zone's pulling, and TSM's so good at setting up over towards the Overlook side, but the problem when you look at this is they've rotated so early, Jamerson, that they can't afford to take a fight without actually getting the kills and getting the loot out of it. So they have to be fairly smart about what they do here, because the last thing you want to do is be stuck in a building with no ammo.
Yeah, and we know that this is a lobby that's going to have a lot of fighting on the edges as well. So that early game KP, that mid game KP should not be going the way of TSM currently right now. Unfortunately for them, of course, not running the Pathfinder, they're not able to take that high ground position, play all the way deep pocket in the back there, as Team Razor are continuing to hunt after Team Applejacks. Mercy Only picking up the double. And he gets the finish off as well. Will get his armor renewed, and now they will finish Team Applejacks. You have to be wary there of the third party coming in, and as it looks like the scans to their front, and they will be able to recover this loot. Ooh,
they just have to worry if they don't get pinched here. Yeah, because Sentinels is in the vicinity, so Cheez It getting a knock on the reps. If we can see what's going on, Nate's getting a double kill right there. Now it's up to Hal as the last guy alive. Can he pull it off? I think he does with 1 HP. But there's a third party, unfortunately. Euban coming through, ruining it there for TSM. Hal, nice job hitting the portal, but he should be taken out here fairly soon. But a nice little jump there. Will they find him? They do. Nice job by Hal living as long as possible. But wish we knew what happened over there with Team Cheez It and why they decided just to charge that building. Was it TSM that made a move on them, or was it Cheez It? It seemed like TSM was stuck in a spot there, and if you are, you have to know that you're going to get third party. That's just a big face palm there for TSM. I guarantee Hal's a little bit frustrated with that, but we're looking at just shots after shots happening over towards the no-name area, and an aggressive portal coming in for Teen. I like this, taking different angles. He's got the wingman back as well.
Yep, and they're trying to finish off, it looks like, the remnants of Team Sentinels currently. We're just in complete shambles. Rockstar finishing off Team Applejacks as well, and Team Pringles have found themselves on top of, you know what, so much is going on. Liquid finished off MPL, that's all that matters right now, but the third party is coming in from Solafide as well. Designful in the knock and the kills onto Flanker and Hotzik. We're already down to 14 squads remaining, and you know, typically I say when it's an overlooked circle, it speeds up the process just a little bit, but not by this much. This is actually insanity.
It's because we've seen back-to-back-to-back third parties basically coming through, and if it's one team gets eliminated, it makes it both teams basically. So a majority of those teams splitting these 50-50s, and then other teams that have been waiting with nice timing coming through on the side have been able to take advantage of situations. Unfortunately for Intel, they're not able to get as much as they were hoping for in this area, but this is a very dominant position. They can hold this hill and hope that no one comes over towards the side where the zip line in the hole is, because that's another good powerful position that you could go and lock down. So they're just kind of owning a lot of real estate right now and keeping everything in front of them, which is a good solid play. But once they get their Evo shields charged, once they see where this zone is going to close, I wouldn't doubt if they kind of tightened up where they were going to go and picked a spot to hold.
CLG with the openings that were really afforded to them, able to make it in now, pushing 303, and you know, they're the ones that will have the extra mobility. POW still on that Pathfinder as they are continuing to hunt down the rest of 303, who end up running into Team Intel there, and they do get that finish off, and it's all the KP going over towards CLG. Now Manus does have to back away the ever-looming threat of Intel on that hill.
Madness with the little baby wall bounce there coming around the corner, and you can see thanks to the scan there for POW where this one's going to be, and where they're set up is a very powerful spot because they have the Pathfinder, so they can just hop up over towards those yellow areas. But third impact taking a lot of damage. Jazaz going to have to hold these players off because he's the most healthy next to Balon G, and you can see Bowser goes down, and Madness is there to also finish this off. So if we could hop on back over to see what's going on with Two Brains, one controller, they get taken out, and CLG starting to heat up over here.
Yeah, CLG currently, you can see Madness is that kill leader. Getting those early game, the mid game kills is super important, especially like you said, they're going to be in one of the strongest positions here for the overlook circle. And this is why Vax is able to take to the skies, has to back away though, as he does get cracked. We'll crank that bet and go for another peek. 600 damage off from getting that red Evo shield for himself, but he's got the G7 Scout to do it with, and so that is really one of the strongest tools to be able to get the long range damage off right now, as the ring will continue to pull over here towards Overlook, and they're even getting all the armor swaps down as well, and so they are really playing for that late game right now. Seeing the defensive bombardment towards the north there, he's going to change and peek on over in that direction to see if he can try to maybe pick up some KP for himself and get some extra poke damage off for now. But take a look at what CLG is doing. They're just going to continue to just taxi all this loot back over to where they want to play this.
I think that Vaxon has enough ammo is the question throughout all this. I don't think that 500 light ammo is going to be enough. Now we get the scan, and it looks like it's going to be that ending that's right in front of them. There's an ending right where he is right now, but if you drop down where POW is, I think this is the one that's going to happen. And having, again, these yellow I forget what they're called. Whatever these giant tanks are, whatever these yellow tanks are, this is a great spot to be in. And I love the change for Vaxon busting out the Gibraltar in this type of situation because of the fact that they saw what happened through the LCQ. If you need to play edge, you're going to need that dome. And you're going to need that defensive bombardment. And now Solifide, so far from where they're going to have to go, ends up having to fight again towards the edge. On this fragment side, they're hunting down a team over towards the rocks. Big grapple coming in for Designful and pings from a player. Looks like they have the advantage, otherwise they wouldn't be pushing this hard.
Yeah, Designful now just take it to the tracks, but they might just be a maneuver to get out of Fragment East, you know, they might have found themselves just in a fight for far too long, wanted to get out of that one. But yeah, speaking about, you know, CLG's changeups, especially without running that Watson, you know, Watson's she has many strengths. She allows you defensive capabilities, but she also allows you to save on your resources. And CLG now, you know, they're a team that already knows how to play center zone well. They're not going to have the same defensive capabilities as the Watson, but they also don't have to worry about the resources there with so many bodies that are on the ground for them. So they can trade away for damage. They're going to have plenty of cells and plenty of bats to work off with. Here is Solifida, though, trying to figure out how they want to move for this next zone. I mean, they're not under pressure quite yet. The zone is closing now, and there are plenty of ways to get around into this. It's really unfortunate that they weren't able to get themselves into Overlook, but I mean, this is a squad that likes to fight on the edge, and so now it's all about trying to identify which is the fight that's going to be easiest for you to take currently.
Yeah, or can you just get a pick with this scout coming in with a 2-4? That'd be nice with the gold barrel stabilizer. Try to 91 away from getting this purple armor would be fairly nice for Resulta. But when you're on the edge here with 12 teams, there's not that much to worry about. And they're realizing that right now. They spot a player over towards the train side. And we see where Team Intel has decided to lock down. And they're still over towards the hill. They haven't made their way over towards where those 3 barrels are and the 6 below them. Seems like they really want to gatekeep the teams that are making their way out of No Name. And now they realize where this zone's going to be since they haven't had a scan recently. And when you look at this position in the map, Jamerson, you can see there is enough area for a team to kind of rat it out in that building over towards No Name, but eventually they're going to have to rotate. And I feel like that's why Intel is kind of hanging out here. They don't want anyone to come in behind.
Yeah, we had a lot of circles ending up in Overlook yesterday, and they got a lot of opportunities to try and figure that one out, but Pringle's now in the fight. This has to be Solifida in front of them as the bubble has come down. Defensive bombardment has been used as well, but here's an EMP, never mind. Slowing them down, and Hundreds gets taken out. It's actually Sentinels that are here in the area, taking out Hundreds, and they immediately back up off this now, but now playing without the Wraith can be extremely difficult, especially in a zone which almost necessitates a Wraith portal to get in for the next one.
Nice burst there for Casellas, but that's going to give away his position. 1 away from being able to charge us up to purple. It'd be nice if he could get that and then hit a cell. He does, so it's up to him and Stink now. Hundreds probably setting down some pings and giving some information here very shortly, but I highly doubt that they're going to let him live throughout all this. And there's the finish coming in for Sentinels, but 47 seconds left. Gonna have to rotate here fairly soon. Again, still not that many squads have been eliminated, so it's not a big deal. They should be able to find a spot, but we know Intel is holding down the top and the high ground. You're right, Solifide is in the vicinity, and they find themselves splitting a 50-50 here with, looks like, Sentinels, and I think that bubble is gonna be just for a fight, not for a res. Never mind, the res actually gonna come through. Ballsy play with only 10 HP. I think that you do have the third party coming in from Pringles back from the side, realizing that they need to try to get Hundreds banner and res him.
Yeah, Designful goes down during all of that, but this is almost a zero-sum game, as honestly, they all took so much damage. They're all recovering now. They're late on the rotation here, and this is a difficult one where there's so much open ground that you have to cover here. It's Razor in a fight up against Team Rice Krispies. GS Bird is the first one to go down, but Sunny answers back, so now I believe it's going to be Haculo in a 1v2. He's got the Massive and the R9, though. Has to contend with the Caustic on the other side. It's going to make it very difficult to fight through this now, as he can still try and recover the banner, but oh boy. That's very unfortunate. He does go down. Bird was thirsted throughout all of this, and so Rice Krispie Treats will be playing as a duo for themselves. Sung still has the Caustic Gas down for them, and I love them. going back to this Caustic, I mean, this is one of the things that they were able to really utilize well early on in their careers, the Caustic into the late game now. And they survived with a sliver of this building still in the zone.
Solid job with the recovery coming in for Rice Krispies. Let's see if Solafide can recover as well after the third party came through as they were fighting Sentinels. Taking a look at what Rockstar's doing. They're on the edge of the zone here, like usual, trying to figure what they want to do to make their way through. Portal's already been used. Pickett does have his generator up if they do want to go and find a spot to hold, but you're seeing pings go down over towards that blue trailer. Nice job with the initial 72 damage, but when you see that player with red armor, you know he's going to be able to just hit that one back up with a battery. And this team is not giving up on Team Rice Krispies. Another Caustic team over here. You see Navi on claws, but somehow a team pushing through. It looks like they're going to be able to finish that one off, I believe. Nice job by Navi with the reset, showing the power of the Caustic here. They're going to be a force to be reckoned with going into the end game. We looks like Rockstar getting a little interested on Rice Krispies, somehow duking it out and still living.
Yeah, this is why you don't push a building that's got the Caustic. Unfortunately, really an unforced error there. Crummy going down now, and so Rockstar, they're going to, I don't even know if they can really recover this at this point. The Caustic barrels are going to really slow things down at this point. And this is what I was talking about. Rockstar and Rice Krispies ultimately ending up into a lot of the same kind of rotations here. It becomes a difficult thing to really try and battle up against each other time and again, as Rice Krispies are just holding the angle. We've got 30 seconds now before the zone starts closing. The movement is being made by Team Rice Krispies. They're the ones that still have their Wraith. They're going to have that extra mobility in just a moment. The portal is coming up in about 30 more seconds there. It's still a tight race. Taking a lot of damage, trying to play behind the rocks currently. As Matt Pickett able to hit with those triple take shots. He gets the knock onto Stunny. And oh boy, this is where usually you just full send it, but they're still playing this very patiently, as that was the right choice. You can see Solafide just up on the hill, able to get that finish off onto Sung.
And that's what Crummy needed to do in that situation. If it's a Caustic inside of a building, don't push the building, wait for them to come out, and play with Rakinishu and Pickett here as you try to get a bubble coming through on the teams that are gatekeeping you. And Rakinishu's doing whatever he can. Nice defensive bombardment's going to force resources out from the team that's on the yellow tanks. And now they're just going to try to pick a spot over towards the edge, but that zone is going to completely rip them. So nice job by Rakinishu making his way through, but you can see how much health he lost. And there's the desperation play to try to get underneath these tanks. And they could be doing this as a full man squad right now. Pickett could be putting his gen down. Fences could be doing a nice job with the AoE, but it's unfortunate that Crummy felt like he had to take that fight so early when they could have just did a late gatekeep. And now Team Rockstar is just a duo on the back, on their ropes here basically, and you can see they're doing just a nice job, literally using everything that they can, Jamerson, to their advantage and staying alive. This zone's not that far from where they got to go.
Yeah, and they'll be able to play just around the tanks here, and you know, it's difficult for the team that's up top to they want to try and contest this team. They want to try and get rid of them, but every time you poke out, then you're just leaving yourself very vulnerable to the other teams that are still around. With 7 squads remaining now, we have 18 players left here. It's CLG that have control of the tanks currently. As they've got, this is what we were talking about. They set up early on. They're going to have armor swaps. They have reds for themselves as well, just trading things around currently. And they've just been setting up for this since basically 5 minutes into the game. Madness still sitting as the kill leader currently with 3 kills to his name. But he's trying to get that information. He's trying to spot out where this team is, try to find that initial damage here. Nades out now with the Arcstar and that frag, but he finds nothing on that fishing expedition now. But he has dropped down to the low ground. This is what Madness does. He likes to peek for the information. He likes to try to play that entry, and he almost got it. Was getting the one clip now. Pushes forward with that Mastiff. Here's a port, though. Another team has come into the area. Rockstar have been finished off, but Madness has to back away. We do have that EMP being utilized as well. Pow with a nice angle from the top, as it looks like he will back away as well. The defensive bombardment has been used. CLG, nice recovery after that as Vax gets the knock onto Navi's claws. And it's Team Intel that have been able to worm their way into this position as well. We remember they were playing just south of this beforehand, and so great maneuvering coming out from them right now. CLG pushing up with this port play, trying to go for the kidnap. Does not work, does it? As CLG finish off Solafide.
Does it work? I don't know, possibly. It looked like it worked because they were able to get those kills right afterwards. But just like you said, throughout all this, it's an amazing job there by CLG. They've been locking this down for quite some time, but Intel was able to weasel their way through. Remember, they won the last game, and this is Intel week, so we'll see if it's going to be an Intel versus CLG duel towards the back end side. But it's Madness going down, and Na'Vi trying to stop these guys because someone's got to do it. Madness was going absolutely insane. Vaxilon, can he hold him off in a 2-on-1 situation? There's the push coming through from both the players. It's a Crypto and a Wraith, and he's not able to. Na'Vi finally slowing down CLG, but I think Intel was able to survive. No, Cooler. It's Cooler and Na'Vi now in the final circle.
Yeah. And they committed a lot into that fight. Remember, we have to remember that I believe Strafey used that EMP very, very early on. It's 19 seconds left before the zone closes, and it does pull their way. So Na'Vi can take their time. They're not under too much pressure. It's now Cooler who have to figure out how they get in here. They've already got the zip line set up to get on top of the tanks as well to set up another angle, but they need to do some initial damage here so that Na'Vi aren't just freely peeking over at them. They're going to elect instead to go for the low ground push here, as Sir Dell now can go ahead and just slide on up if he wants to with that grapple. Does back down once again. And now we are left in a standstill here. Here comes the drop down, quite possibly though. Na'Vi versus Cooler, and what a way to end this one here. Former teammates battling it out. Nesh gets the first knock onto Dell, and Na'Vi take game number 2.
And they should, because they're the team that took down CLG, who was just absolutely on fire. So I'm curious to see who actually picked up the most points through all of that, because they were just going on an absolute tear on the CLG side. But it's fortunate for Intel that they were able to find their way over towards the top 5. It's not a complete goose egg game for them, and that's what they need to do, is just continue to stay relevant as the games unfold after their big game number 1. But we're going to take a quick break. When we get back, we're going to get started with game number 3.
Hey, what's up? I'm Tempest, and I use Intel's i7-8700K.
Intel should be looking to take advantage. They do have, it looks like the HP almost equal on either side, but Cooler getting the first knock onto Hill. It is traded. It's now all up to Tempest here. He's got the R99 and the Mastiff in this 1v1.
Oh,
and
my.
Hill again comes in clutch for
Tempest.
Team Intel, and Intel will take game number 7.
Intel, the best a gamer can get.
All right, welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, to Series E. We are, of course, in Intel week right now, and we just finished off game number 2. So let's go ahead and take a look at the leaderboard to see where things shape up. Is it another repeat of last week where the EU teams were dominating? And Cooler are definitely making an argument for that. Now in first place with 34 points. Team Intel, though, were able to post up some. Looks like 8 points for themselves, and now are sitting in second place with 30 points. And CLG, a pretty good fragging game there in game number 2, now sitting in third place with 24 points. But again, another EU representative or CIS representative, Na'Vi, here in fourth place with 20 points.
Not that big of a, I mean, it's a big win for Na'Vi, but not as many kill points as they would have hoped for. Only 8 overall, assuming they got a goose egg in game number 1. But it's back to EU dominance here. Again, 2 of the top 4 teams, 2 brains, 1 controller, didn't have the performance they were hoping for in that game. But I like that Intel hung in there, gave themselves an opportunity to win. Again, weaseled their way into that building. Unfortunately for them, they ran into a Cooler team who Cooler is looking really hot in their team fights. Remember from game number 1 what they did to Solafide. So again, I'm really looking for Intel and Intel Week to see what they're going to be able to do. It's nice to see them, I think, get second place yesterday and now be in second place today. So we'll see if they can keep it up.
Yeah, and like I believe there's some positional changes there, right? Dell now going over to the path, Yuki on the Wraith, and I think Yuki really does thrive on that Wraith position, being able to play a little bit more forward, being that open fragger. We know we were talking about, the changes coming out from both Na'Vi and Cooler, with Cooler, adding on 2 members of GSD at that point, that they retained, their absolute fragging power. And now Yuki's set up in a position where he can absolutely thrive. And I think Dell flexes off from that Wraith well, too. We are on board with Rockstar, who are making their flight into Lava City currently. And I don't believe they're getting challenged here. So this is going to be an absolute free one for them, as they are splitting up here for the loot.
There has to be some fighting somewhere, right? Where's Team Cheez-Its? They're known for going at it in the beginning of the games. There's a couple 50-50s somewhere, right?
Yeah, we should go over to Pop-Tarts and 303, or...
Yeah, Pop-Tarts and 303, Overlook side. Yeah, there it is. Now we got Team Razor fighting over towards this Geyser side. I think it was Applejacks they were fighting with. Big 58 there, coming in with the longbow from Hakulo to be able to show that he has purple armor too, which is going to back these players off. And there it is, Applejacks not in a good situation here, as 2 of their players are absolutely cracked, and now you're going to have to deal with Mercy only, who's getting another knock, and it looks like Rice Krispy's getting busy too, so we're expecting 50-50s. We got him.
Yeah, there's a Revenant in play for this one as well. Pop-Tarts losing Fat for Ninja, so Pop-Tarts try to chain things up as themselves, no longer taking that 50-50 up against 303, but now they have to contend against Team Rice Krispy Treats early on. Have already lost 1, as Team Razor will be able to finish off this fight, and they do it off in time, really, with 1 minute and 30 seconds left to go before the zone starts closing. They can just finish up their looting and start moving here, as it looks like the ring is starting to pull away over towards that northwest side of the map. So Skyhook could be in play for this one, possibly even over towards Countdown. We'll find out in just a moment. But we know this team has been doing a fantastic job of playing edge. Ooh, down here on the south, though, Team Pringles running into some opposition right now, as Hundreds did have to back away. The long range Spitfire shots will keep that team at bay. Currently, Stink trying to set up a crossfire for his squad. Casella's on the rocks. Now here comes Stink, looking down into the low ground. He's got the 3x on that Hemlock, but he's not able to land those shots quite yet. Casellos will be able to get that knock on to Blight. And it looks like it's just the remnants of the Pop-Tarts team. They're just limping away from their drop, and it's only Farmer Lucas still up for his team, considering going back maybe to try and pick up that banner. No, time is going to run out. Blight is crawling to try and get over to him, but he's going to have to give that one up, as Stink will finish him off. Too many teams in the area, and there it is. We do have information on the zone. It is going over towards Countdown. So look towards 2 brains, 1 controller. I'm looking towards CLG in this late game, setting up early positioning.
Could end at Countdown, could still pull over towards Lava Fisher, could end between the 2 of them in that little open area. We'll see what every team elects to go and hold based on their zone knowledge as we see what Third Impact is doing. They're getting into a little bit of a skirmish in the back here. Could this be Cheez It, the team that they end up fighting a lot and fairly often? A nice little thermite over towards the door is going to hold them off, and it is Team Cheez It. 90% of the time, if there's a fight over towards Refinery, you're expected to be Cheez It and Third Impact.
Yeah, they haven't been able to find that opening damage quite yet, and the bubble has already been used, so they might wait it out another 10-15 seconds before they go for these peaks. The thermite's not getting them any information, not getting them any extra poke damage here, and now things are slowing down currently as both teams are just waiting on their cooldowns. We do have Strictly, he's got that EVA 8 and the R9, so his close range is going to be extremely good, especially with that purple mag. Balon G trying to set up an angle here on the car to look through the window, but he hasn't found anything quite yet, as they're doing an excellent job of just avoiding the window for now. The bubble has been used by Team Cheez It, and so this might be the time for Third Impact to go in. They don't have Balon G in position though. With that Gibraltar bubble, he's the one that's going to want to first peek as the defensive bombardment does come down on top of Third Impact. They back away off of this one, and that creates space for Cheez It now to retake the roof and force back Third Impact.
I'm surprised no third party is going to come in through all this. We also saw some fighting happening on the other side. There's the defensive bombardment coming through as everyone just rats back into the top of this building here. This fight is going to continue to last for such a long time. They have to get it over with now, and that's what Strictly's thinking. He makes his way towards the top, switches to the EVA 8, and gets the initial knock onto Jazaz, and there's nades coming through onto Zicky too. It's a 3-on-1. Cheez It should be able to win this one. Nades elects to heal, but there it is from Team Cheez It, finally being able to find a big advantage here as Balon is the last guy alive. Strictly should be able to handle this one, and he does. Big fight there for Cheez It.
It was just a big chess match coming out from either side, really utilizing all of their tools. Cheez It forcing them back, and then it just looked like Third Impact got overly aggressive. The swing in from the Pathfinder getting absolutely punished. On board with TSM, who are playing over here by Train, as doesn't really look like they actually have the ring information. It's hard to tell, and so they're electing just to play this for now. Again, this is a squad again. They have been adjusting. They don't play for the center zone as much. They try to find the fights on the edges. It just hasn't been going their way so far today. But here, of course, in Pro Night, it is just a 6-game series. And so, honestly, 2 good games can really put you back into the running here. So TSM will see if they can bounce back. Unfortunately, it looks like Snipe Down is currently AFK. Oh,
It could be
he's back.
His dog Chief causing some havoc towards his ankles, biting his ankles or something along those lines. But we'll see what they elect to do, because they're kind of caught in a weird situation where they want to play zone, and they could play zone, but they're not really in position to, and they aren't necessarily on the edge, so they could end up getting pinched. But Cooler takes this high ground, and you can see for this next zone scan, they are in, so they elect to play passive and wait for opportunities, as a defensive bombardment is going to hit Surdell. Not going to do too much damage though. They're going to be able to easily reset over here, but it's always difficult when you're the team on the low ground here to go and push through, especially if you don't have a route that you could make your way towards if someone's gatekeeping in front of you. So Cooler going to just be as annoying as possible on this high ground until it's time for them to move.
Yeah, with the ring still hugging the north side there, they can elect to stay, but looks like now it's more about positioning for this next zone currently, as they've even got the balloon to work with if they want to, but with the sniper shots ringing through, they have to be careful now. They're just going to go ahead and elect to go into the building proper. It's Team Liquid that have set up in position with that Beast of the Hunt being popped by Flanker right now. They are going to clear that drone, I believe. Hotzek took a lot of damage there, but now they're just going to regroup. Flanker backing away to the rest of his squad. His Beast of the Hunt is gone, and so if we're not able to find an opening off the back of that, they really want to try and clear up Lava Fissure. Hotzek takes some damage here, but Nocturnal with the high ground angle from the roof tries to keep them at bay, and oh no, that is the Gibraltar going down, but it looks like they might have found some cover. Here comes Solafide to try and full on ape through this, but Designful misses his swing, has dropped down, and now that is going to allow Team Liquid to be able to reset off of this. Solafide unfortunately not able to really capitalize off that knock.
Really interesting play from Hodzik there to use his bubble, not healing it, and try to escape. But fortunately, his teammates are going to be there to punch him into the right spot and also add enough pressure so Sulafide had to take some weird unorthodox routes. As we see what Pringles and Rice Krispies are doing, they're just poking and priding around as one of these teams that are over towards the edge. Not quite sure what they're looking for or what these pings are for in front of them, but with this high ground situation, they are going to try to get some shots down and try to filter these guys into a pretty bad spot to be. No one wants to be running over towards the bottom of the map here into the open. One of the worst areas because there's just not much cover. So Pringle's realizing that, and they're just going to continue to rotate with all of this area in front of them because eventually they're going to have to be the team that's going to cross.
TSM in a fight right now as Imperial Hal is forced to use that med kit. There's a caustic above them and makes it very difficult to try and push these train carts. But they're still eyeing it, but they're taking so much time. The Beast of the Hunt, 15 more seconds left on it. He's going to have 2 more good scans with it. But what do you do when the caustic barrels are set up there? As right now, it looks like they might give up on it, as there are some pings to possibly try and back out. And it's going to be the call to just back away from this. Again, taking way too much time for that as Sentinels. All right. Crust, stop it. Stop it. All right. Joining Razor, though, as they are now making their move up. Do they elect to try and take the tunnel up to Skyhook? I don't know if that's quite the play, as we do see that ring continuing to pull away from Skyhook. It's going more and more over towards Countdown, might even go further south. We'll find out in just a moment here. This is one of those positions where you can easily find yourself pinched, and committing to the tunnel can be a very dangerous affair.
I feel like every time I run through this tunnel, I'm just assuming there's a caustic barrel somewhere. There has to be one behind maybe that box that he's zooming in on. The amount of caustic barrels I've ran into running through this tunnel is absolutely ridiculous. But it looks like the idea is to hope someone comes around this corner to gatekeep. But the thing is, if you're Hakulo, and if you actually want kills, you would let someone run in there. So I don't think that he's trying to bait for kills. I think he's trying to have a presence, so they just realize that there's a team there since they don't have a Watson or a Caustic, so they can't really show an early presence. They're going to have to do it just with their AoE or with their shots alone and their ADS alone. But Hundreds gets ripped apart. That's Bambino with the R301 from Team Nestle Pure Life, and it looks like Casellas' idea is just to back off. Keep in mind, he is playing Crypto, so this is a smart play. Just get into the drone, recover that banner, and hope that team forgets where you're at so you can go and hit the res that's happening right behind you, especially when you go and just realize it's just early in this game. You could take that damage, but this is the team that knocked him, Nestle Pure Life, and they have a lot to deal with in front of them, so they're not going to rotate. If there is a situation where a res does come in, Nestle Pure Life is going to be able to collapse on that. So we'll see what happens, because this is probably one of the teams that has one of the furthest rotations.
And here's Solo Fide coming in for the third party, able to finish off Casellas there. And so, you know, out of the frying pan into the fire for Team Pringles currently now. This is why Nestle Pure Life were playing this a little bit more cautiously. They were afraid. This is a healthier lobby than our last 2 games here in the early game. And so there's still a lot of presence, a lot of teams in the area that you have to worry about. So they're going to be happy with at least picking up Hundreds as loot at the very least. And their armor situation already looks great. They're set up for the mid game. Now they just need to find out a way to get in. They have 1 minute and 10 seconds before the zone starts closing, and there are a lot of options, but we do have the ring continuing to pull on over towards Countdown now. And so it's Solo Fide starting to make their move for it, looking to possibly take that large pillbox fight over here at the car, though. It's now Razor moving out from that tunnel, trying to get aggressive onto the car team. It's going to be Team Rockstar inside. Crummy has already gone down, and Rakanishu almost gets dropped as well. Now with only 25 HP, it is going to be Team Razor trying to full send it on this one. They do elect to just slow things down. The bubble has been used to allow them to heal up just a little bit before they go in. Breaking that arm shield gets the knock onto Rakanishu, and they will finish off Team Rockstar without taking too much damage. They'll have the armor swaps as well. It's only Mercy, well, Mercy only, that took flesh damage there.
Also, you have Cheez-It picking up some kills on the Luminosity, so nice job there by Cheez-It, continuing to get some EU kills and take out those teams. But Solafide is one of those teams making the rotation over through the Lava Fisher side. And they find Liquid, who's over there for quite some time too, as Bird gets a knock. And that is going to be on the nades from Cheez-It. And the finish comes through for Sunny. So we were talking about how many teams were left, Jamerson. Now things starting to kind of explode here, as the ring is not able to hold that many teams, and Sung, with some really nice flatline shots, is going to finish off the rest of Team Cheez-It. So the controller looting taking place. You're going to have to get out of there eventually. Sung not playing Pathfinder, so you can't hit that fat grapple out of there. And now we see where Solafide elected to hold, and they also have a building that they're in, but a team on top of it too. So curious to see who this is. It's going to be NPL, and it's a lot of action coming in over here, as Solafide was a late rotation, but they're just dominating on this side.
Oh, slide in, and they get the knock onto Resulta, though, but it's the knock from the zone, I believe. Bambino, the only one left alive here. And the third party, I believe, finishing him off. That's 303's scissors. Solafide still have to try and recover, but now here comes the defensive bombardment, and it's just a matter of time. Even the Arc Stars coming in, but good usage of the Nox shields to actually keep them alive for now. 303, though, starting to creep up. They want to try and finish off these kills, but they're still playing this cautiously. There's a lot of teams left in the lobby right now with 11 squads in this ring over at Countdown, and so they don't press their luck, and they will make sure to maintain just a safe position. They are in the zone. They have coverage to work with. CLG will finish off Solafide in just a matter of moments.
Yeah, here comes the Kobe for Pau. Has a couple grenades in his back pocket. Will this one connect? It's not able to, so that white knockdown shield has been the MVP so far for Solafide, as they're trying to just do whatever they can to live, as Noct is going to finish off Designful. And we see the position that CLG is in, and what they really want to do, the thought process is to go where that ping is, but in the meantime, they got to clear out their back, make sure no one's going to flank them, push them in a bad position, or catch them off guard, as Nasty is going to get a knock out of you, but if we can hop over there.
Yep, there it is. Cooler. They're on the northwest side of the zone currently, pushing up onto 303. Good tracking shots coming out. Catching that Pathfinder in that mid grapple here, almost getting the knock, but the Volt shots will not connect for Yuki. It's Cooler, who's just been slowly creeping through here. Madness trying to hold it down, but he gets double peeked now. Will they be able to fight back? They do. Rice Krispies just collapsing like that. Instant res on to Madness, coming out from Pau of all players here, as Vax is the strongest to be able to stand and fight for his squad. They hold down the south, but they will be able to recover, and now they have to start moving on in. Razor in the fight with TSM, as Mercy will instantly finish off one. Traded back by Reps now. Here's Zero Tricky playing in the bubble, pulls out that triple take. They've lost two. Here's the quick res out. They lose Hakulo throughout that process, and they need to heal up really quickly, though, because the zone is coming in. So he'll have the armor swap at the very least for himself, but he still needs to get some health meds in. Mercy only taking way too long here, as he might just go down once again. It will be Nesh to take him out, and now Zero Tricky taking zone damage, trying to slide on in as he's getting fire from all angles, and he goes down to the ring. And unfortunate for Team Razor there, just trading too much. Na'Vi now making their way on and have to be careful pushing in tier, but looks like they were able to clear this one out. Intel will be able to finish off Solafide with gentrifying going down. We are now down to our top 7 squads. We might have a rat in this lobby. We'll find out in just a moment. Final ring coming out here as Intel are in position, but they are on the ultimate low ground here, and so this is going to be very scary when we know that Caustics are in play.
They do have the counter to Caustic if you do have a nice generator coming in for Tempest, if he's able to get that down at the right time. Team finds another one. They're just cleaning up all the rats, like you said. Nocturnal going to be eliminated there, so that's Team Liquid going out in 7th place, as we see CLG on the low ground too. But a little bit of this area should be in for Team Intel if they want to go and lock it down. The problem is the team's on the high ground. That's what they have to worry about. They don't have a Pathfinder to go up there. I love this little ledge here that they're playing, Jamerson. The team from the high ground eventually is going to have to drop down, and this zone may pull in front of them. I'm not sure exactly where this one goes, but when you look at that zone and the area that it's owning, towards those fences seems to be a safe bet.
They're going to go ahead and back away into this corridor. Not in time for Tempest, though, as Vax is able to hit those shots. Luckily, of course, the bubble is there for that fast res, and he'll be able to get behind cover as well. They've got a box. I don't know exactly what's inside that for them, but he's going to elect to go for that bats for now. And Intel do recover off the back of this. Zone starts closing now, but they should have plenty of time to just fully reset and reconsider how they want to try and push in here. There's another team to their north currently poking away, and they're going to get pressured now as they've got the Watson fences in the back to really cover this angle. And really, they're trying to just turn the screws onto this squad. Team taking some damage, but he does have that gold armor. He goes for that bat. As you can see, Hill going for that wide peak. Does have to be careful. Zone now closing in. They're going to take some damage here. There's another team behind them. Those 2 brains, 1 controller, Na'Vi 303, all going down. 2 brains, 1 controller are still in this currently, but Tech will fall next. Na'Vi getting third-partied by Cooler. And it looks like we are now down to 4 squads remaining through. Make that 3 here. Team Intel, Team Cooler, and I believe CLG is the last squad.
Yeah, it has to be. CLG's probably holding that fence where we're talking about, where the zone most likely is going to pull these boxes, the fences. There's a lot of little head glitches. They could kind of, poke out and see what exactly is in front of them. But the team that has the high ground right now is going to be Team Cooler, and you love to see the position that they're in. However, who's going to fight first? Is it going to be CLG and Intel since they're on the bottom ground, and will it be an easy third party, or will a team be forced into one another? Team's going to definitely have to hit some shots here with the wingman if that's going to have to happen. It's going to be a late bubble most likely coming in from Hill. Not sure if he has a defensive bombardment. Tempest is not going to be able to do much on the Watson here. That's kind of where, unless you have the generator, Watson's going to kind of fall off here. But she at least got you to this point, and it's going to be an early defensive bombardment coming through from Intel.
Yeah, if they are keeping track of the teams, of course, they know that maybe a Watson isn't in play. And Nasky starts it off, the triple take, the knock onto Vaxlon, and that was the Gibraltar. But he was able to get the dome down at the very least before he did get knocked. And so now here comes the bubble out from Hill to allow them to be able to move into the cover here. Drop down from Cooler as well, a fairly late one. They've got the bubble on their side to work with too now. Standoff as
Serdell goes down to ring.
Goes down to the ring of all things. Arc stars and nades are coming in as right now Intel, it looks like they've got the mad advantage. Don't know if Vaxlon was ever rezzed up into this, as he was actually. Here comes the massive shots. Vaxlon does go down. It's Team Intel down to a duo here, trying to finish this one off. Good usage of that knock shield, and Team Intel will take another game. And they put up some KP as well. Fantastically played by Team Intel.
Amazing job. The bubble coming through is perfectly placed, but not only that, the aggressive play from Teen, and this is what we see coming in from Tempest and from Hill. Teen goes, charges in, gets the initial damage. You're going to see great bubbles coming through, and then the 1 versus 1s that Tempest is able to pull off there. Yes, it was a 2 versus 2. Everyone was doing their separate 1 versus 1 on each side, but what a great job forcing Cooler and CLG into one another. And not sure what happened to Serdell. Unfortunately, the ring 2 OP.
Yeah, it might have just gotten away from him. Of course, they are also playing on like 230 ping or something like that, and so we'll give him this one. We are going to go ahead and take a longer break though, as we have hit the halfway mark here at Series E for Intel Week. So don't go. Well, you know what? Go ahead and take a little break for yourself as well. We'll be back in about 10 minutes for the last remaining 3 games. So see you guys then.
I play Apex Legends for Team Intel. The characters that Team Intel primarily runs is Wraith, Gibby, Bloodhound on the non-show match days, simply because the lobbies are kind of not as packed with the top tier teams. You can kind of take fights without as much risk of like really good third parties coming in fast. I think the comp is so strong because there's kind of a lot of different reasons. The Bloodhound allows for a scan, so you can instantly know where the zone's going to go and then play around that and like kind of plan your like attack. You can like farm where an edge of zone where you think, okay, well, no one's going to go there because they're going to be going towards zone, so we can get some isolated third parties. And then Gibraltar is just super strong. His bubble allows for such good isolated fights, and a team that really practices their bubble fights with mastiffs and shotguns can literally just wipe you like that. It kind of doesn't matter how good you are sometimes. Your teammates, they can't take damage from it. They can get slowed and stunned, but I mean, if the other team's just getting pelted with it, it doesn't matter if you're slowed and stunned. You can go right in there and just clean up the kill super easily if they don't have like a Watson Gen down or a bubble down. And then Bloodhound with his scans, like if you give any top tier team wall hacks for 6 seconds or 4 seconds constantly for a minute, however long his ult is, I mean, a good player is going to abuse the heck out of that. So I think that's why it's kind of one of the top teams. And then end game, you obviously have Wraith Portal, you have Bubble, so you can have every good chance to win the game there as well.
Welcome back from halftime here as we are heading into the second half of Series E Pro Night for Intel Week. And what a week it has been for Team Intel. Here tonight already, they've taken 2 dubs. So let's go ahead and take a look at the leaderboards to see exactly where they stand. They should be in first place, and they are currently, but narrowly, as Cooler are right there behind them. They were able to, of course, get that top 3 finish for themselves. 47 points for Team Cooler and 49 points for Team Intel. So it's still a tight race for first place, Tom.
It's amazing to see how well Team Intel is doing. They're great at predicting the zones. They're coming with great third parties, and It's awesome to see them do it during Team Intel Week 2. Keep in mind that they're playing on separate teams during the ALGS, so they're coming together, and it makes you wonder, should this squad be the actual squad that's competing because how well they're actually doing today. But not to get too ahead of ourselves, there's still 3 games to go, and a team like TSM, Sentinels, these teams on the right-hand side, can easily pop back. I don't think we're going to see Third Impact continue with 3 points either. I'm sure they're going to make a strong performance coming through as well, but they died early to Team Cheez-It. Team Cheez-It had a nice fight over towards the refinery side. TSM's not able to come through with the third parties. They're getting initiated on. They're also taking fights and then immediately dying right afterwards. So it's been teams like CLG, Na'Vi coming through with some really nice third parties and some great timing.
Yeah, and then we can't also discount the middle of the pack right now. A lot of squads still in contention with 3 games to go as we join on board with Team Intel. Now, again, they've been able to secure this spot in Fragment West, getting a lot of good loot and being centralized in that zone affords them priority on a lot of these rotations as well. Blue Armor's currently for 2 members, and we were talking up his wingman and how good it was and how he was hitting those shots, but
Nice shot,
when
Teen.
it comes to a cargo bot, it seems that is his weakness. But they at least, I believe it was a purple that they secured, but that's unfortunate.
Oh man, I don't know if they're going to be able to win the game after that one. Teen seems like he's just completely fallen off. Time to find a new third after that one, but it was a tough angle. We'll give him that. But there's a third. Oh, the third fight we've seen. Maybe 4th fight actually, because we were going into halftime. But yes, Applejacks going up against Team Razor in ridiculous burst fire hemlock shots coming out for Zeratricky.
Remember, Zeratricky was running up without his gun out, and so he had to pull out the hemlock. He's only got the gray stock on it, and then he just got the double burst and took him out. That's the strength of the Hemi right now. But Team Razor, even though they've got that initial kill, they're still in a little bit of a tight spot. Mercy doesn't have armor. Zeratricky effectively doesn't have armor currently. It's just Hakula with 150 HP. We'll see if they can try and recover that for now. Zeratricky does take to the high ground, though, and he does have that hemlock once again. 3x with the blue mag on it, hitting for white onto the player up to their north. It looks like Applejacks are just regrouping to the north now. That's going to allow them the time to try and recover that loot that was in front of them, but instead here's Zeratricky swinging to the left, hits with the thermite onto the door. As soon as it cracks, he's looking for the shots on the Hemi, tries to predict them through the window. There's another opportunity here, but instead he's going to go ahead and push up as they take the geyser to start trying to cut them off. It's CLG with an early rotation now with a minute left to go before the zone even starts closing. Already find themselves outside of Skyhook, making their way on in. Here is the continuation of that push coming out from Team Razor. The bubble has been used on the other side, and so they are going to be vulnerable to scans out, and they are separated currently. Counter scan out from Team Applejacks as Mercy will get that knock, and now it's the final remaining member here. The melee to finish him off, and they get that. That's going to be another 3 points for Team Razor.
Nice job by Team Razor, and now there's another fight happening with Gentrifying going on to Ronnie with the wingman. If we could hop on over to Solafide aim assist and see its Luminosity in a tough spot here. Bubble is down. Rugby has to come through and hit a flank fast because this is a 2-on-1 situation underneath the building. Disbelief doing a nice job staying alive, but where's the pressure coming in for Solafide? There it is. They're on the roof, taking it slow, knowing they have the advantage here. They don't want to make any major mistakes. They're going to methodically push in here. Meanwhile, you're going to have Na'Vi involved as well. So there goes the knock right there onto Nesh. Multiple teams in the vicinity. Solafide, again, we talked about timing before the game started. You want to be the last team involved. That's exactly what they did. And they're going to be able to get rewarded for that once all this caustic gas goes away.
Yeah, they've already got a purple onto Designful. Just looking at, of course, Gentrifying and Resulta to try and pick this one up. But nice jump shots coming out, but the caustic makes it very difficult. They will finish off Na'Vi. Liquid in a fight themselves over here, the connect area from Tree, as they're making their way in to the southeast side of Thermal. Currently the scan out onto 1. They got the knock onto hundreds. Now they want to continue this push. Solafide, though, getting pushed now by 2 brains, 1 controller. Answered 1 for 1 as Knocked has gone down, but Gentrifying will be the next one to fall. Bowser coming in still. They get the trade, and now it's down to a 1v1 tech versus 1 here, as Liquid are still in this fight now, pushing this building. They've lost flanker to Stink. Nocturnal not able to connect with those massive shots. Unfortunately, it looks like the railings were just too strong. They won't be able to survive that, and they can recover that banner and just res him right into this. Tech finishes off that fight up against Sola Fide. 2 brains, 1 controller winning this one out.
Yeah, Designflow grapples away when he had an opportunity to challenge that one early, but now Intel coming through and capitalizing on this. If we could go back to Intel, they're cleaning that fight up. I want to see if they're able to get those kills. Sentinels gets in a fight here, but we have to see what Team Intel is doing since they're in first place and if they can capitalize on that knock that they got. But Sentinels, they are fighting for a pretty relevant spot. When you look at the zone, Jamerson, you can see the scan is in front of them. So they could be the team that goes and clears out this spot, then makes their way over here. This is a Pringles team that should get wiped, and they do. So nice job by Sentinels. But let's see what's going on the other side. I want to see what is up with Team Intel and if they were able to finish off 2 brains, 1 controller.
Here we are. They are on that northern ledge here that can control both chokes, as Tempest now checking the angles. Can Team Intel currently in the lead, but by a small margin up against Cooler here, heading into game number 4 of the day. And it looks like, you know, things are just going to slow down for them. They're just going to play this. Of course, they've got that Watson, and so they can just control all of that. The traps are starting to go down. They got one on the eastern edge. That puts them down on the western edge as well. Team Rice Krispie Treats have rotated their way on over towards Tree. Of course, because they don't have the recon, going to wait things out just a bit. They can take their time here, and so they'll just play the edge for now.
I don't know exactly where this zone's going to end. We're going to have to find out once someone gets the next scan onto zone number 3, because I'd be interested to see who's in a god spot early or who's going to potentially set up towards the middle areas. Is it going to be a team like TSM? They're holding these high ground over here, so is it going to continue to pull over towards this tree side? You do see multiple teams that like to play middle setting up. So I like this spot coming in for TSM. This is one of the most powerful spots if it is going to end over here that you could potentially be in, but ideally you wouldn't want to have the Volt here. Even though you have the 2x, I guarantee reps would love to trade that out for a charge rifle or even a scout in this type of situation. But either way, the positioning is looking good, and they're going to continue to try to bully teams like Rice Krispie Treats and other teams on the low ground.
Yeah, I believe this one continues to pull just a little bit to the north, and there we go, we have it. And so the buildings on that south side that we saw a lot of fighting taking place, not in this ring, but of course the rotation not too far from any of our squads down here. TSM will be able to walk in with this one as well. They're currently just to the north of Team Rice Krispie Treats right now, as it looks like Team Rockstar are just outside, looking to lurk in and try to get behind them here. Gotta be careful. Rice Krispie Treats have to be watching their back, but they've got 2 people watching that door for now. They've got 1 out as well with that port. They do get out just in time as Team Rockstar starts to come in and take over that building.
Good timing there. Good awareness coming in for both these teams involved, and looks like Rockstar still trying to sniff out where these players went as we switch on over to CLG. They see a defensive bombardment in front of them, so they're going to try to get a little bit interested. They're electing to hold this choke area. And we're going to have to find out again a scan on where this is, because it's so hard to see when you just look at that little mini map on exactly where this one is going to go. But Pau taking some good damage, and he's going to hit a nice grapple out of there and should be able to heal with plenty of area to hide behind. So nice job getting out of there and not messing up the grapple. But it's a thermal station ending, and it is, like you said, those buildings, or it could end over towards the middle area on some of the bins and those towers, those jungle gyms that are over towards thermal. So now Rockstar getting aggressive, and they've been on the hunt for a while. Jamerson going for the capture play, not able to find it, but instead going to make their way over towards the bottom stairs.
They just want to hold inside instead here. But it's going to be Crummy to back up. They've already got the Watson trap set up. Good spray, but he does not get the 1 clip. Matt Pickett. But he does push them back at the very least with that damage, slow things down, be able to get that bat off. as Rakanishi will come back through that portal. For now, it's Team Rice Krispie Treats trying to control this building with the caustic traps. And this is what I'm talking about. Rice Krispie Treats and Team Rockstar continuing to have very similar rotation paths, running into each other time and time again. It's Rice Krispie Treats, though, having to watch their back. They have to be careful about the pinch as well. And so for now, at the very least, they are starting to control more ground up against Team Rockstar as we join on board with Team Cheez-It, who found themselves inside Thermal Station proper with the res to get him back on up. They the jungle gym area, this is what you need to be careful about. It is, while it does look kind of safe, there's a lot of cover, there's a lot of angles you can still get shot from. And so they have played behind the supply bins for now as they just fully heal up.
A team that would be solid at holding the jungle gym area would be a team like Intel with the Watson. But when you're rocking the Pathfinder here, ideally you want to be playing some high ground or a different spot. And we'll see what the plan is to get out of here. Will it be a portal? Will it be a zip line? It is a zip line over towards the platform. They also see a fight happening over here, so this is the perfect time for that to be happening. And it's that never-ending Rockstar Rice Krispies fight, but the third party is coming in. Sung goes down. Bird should be next. Finds the fast armor swap, but it doesn't give it to him. Trying to hit this battery, but it looks like those players are going to know where they're at. Cheez-It taking some damage over from behind. That's going to be 303 up from the high ground with the charge rifles. And now Cheez-It's going to have to find where this last player is. I love this portal play coming through. They know exactly where that player is that got him with the knock. But have they been able to find where Rice Krispie Treats is? You see Study goes down. Was that the final player? I don't think it was.
Gold bag res onto Strictly as well. So that's going to be a fast reset coming out from Team Cheez-It here. We're already down to 13 squads, 38 players remaining. It means one team is currently down to play as a duo at the very least. And Team Cheez-It just picking up whatever loot that they can. And they have a decent spot here for this next zone. We will figure out where the ring is in just a moment as it continues to pull into the direct center of Thermal Station as it's Team Intel currently playing on the north-hand side. The hill to the northwest is still available, I believe, as there we go. The last remaining members of Team Rice Krispies getting finished off there. But with that ring information, there we go. The crypto coming out from 2 brains, 1 controller. It is just going into Thermal Station. You've got this ping out coming from 2 brains, 1 controller. They want to play that low ground where they might have the cover from the ledge as 303 continuing their assault on Team Cheez-It. Nades to go down, finished off. Hambino and taken out from Razor. And so a lot of fighting taking place right here. CLG, though, are going to have to continue to play the edge right now as they're keeping an eye on their north.
And still a very aggressive game coming out. It was a slow game in the previous one, and it's been kind of a mixed match back and forth, but a lot of action happening over here and so many death boxes for Team Razor to choose from that Mercy only elects to even hit his ultimate so he could go and loot faster and run faster and find out what's in front of them. Zeratricky somehow throughout all this in the storm finds a knock onto Blight from Team Pop-Tarts. So again, ridiculous hemlock shots from Zeratricky, really starting the game on fire and continuing to prove that he is one of the best players here. Nice scan coming in for Mercy only. He's going to be able to find where these players are. And there's the damage coming through. 303 is involved too. Lucas, his best option is the portal. But this is just an escape for himself. He's not going to be able to get his teammates back up. And we'll see if that he's not going to be able to get lucky there. I thought he may be able to get up towards those areas where he could use cover. But amazing job by Razor, as always, playing the edge, coming through, and just catching teams off guard.
This is going to be a rough rotate for them. As you can see, that next zone, it's just on the edge of the river of lava. And so they have to figure out a way to get across. It can be a very dangerous thing to try and take the zip lines, especially with TSM in position to try and poke out for them. I believe that last remaining member that we saw going down just beforehand, it was TSM. Here is the defensive bombardment to try and create some space for them, but they get tagged up. So we'll see. CLG in a fight, though, up against Cooler now here on the north-hand side, playing that choke we were talking about just beforehand, having to check their backs, but oh boy, it's not going to be enough. They've already lost one. Madness has gone down. Pal's going to try and pop the bat, but he still has only 10 HP left on him. Backslon drops down low, and Cooler will put an end to CLG very shortly here, I believe. As Vax might be the only one still remaining here. But great job by Cooler pushing this position. They'll be able to recover and pick up a good armor for Nasky at the very least. But the defensive bombardment now applying a lot of pressure onto him. The zone also coming in. But they have cover now.
Double
They
Kraber
should
knocks.
be able to recover this armor. Oh boy. That's the big knock coming out from Teen. Intel want to get aggressive off this right now. Cooler versus Intel once again. Nasky is getting rezzed up currently as Intel are slowly pushing this one up now. Hill here with Teen pushing in. They're setting up the crossfire, but they're not able to land the damage through that shield. And it looks like they're going to go ahead and call it here. Too much time has gone by. They'll get the armor swaps. They'll be able to heal up. And Intel miss out on this opportunity to try and come in for the third party.
A lot of action happening with TSM. You can see Razor going to be able to drop them. Snipe Down, I think, is the last guy alive, as 303's been very annoying, to say the least, with the charge rifle over towards that top center area. But I like this play from Intel to back off and to leave Team Cooler alone because of the fact that they can gatekeep them later, Jamerson. Like you said, there's armor swaps over there. You don't want to run into the open, get aggressive. The bubble already came back up. So once the fact that the bubble went down, you're really risking it against one of the better teams. And we see how good and strong the bubble fight is coming up when they win that fight against CLG. So Razor over here again with another tough rotation. They have a lot of ground and real estate to make up. And these teams that are over towards the top center area, now's their time to shine. This is when they're going to really start to pick up their kill points with the charge rifles and the scouts they've been holding on to.
And the team on top of that thermal tower trying to be a nuisance to Team Razor here, who are rotating back through, picked up a lot of loot along the way. They were part of the squads that took out TSM in that one. Intel. Teen gets tagged through the fence there, and he does back away. As Hill, he tries to peek with that G7 Scout and that arm shield. It can be extremely strong abusing that angle for now, but Third Impact in a fight with Nestle Pure Life, as it looks like Third Impact are taking the better of it, and they will be able to finish them off here. So, oh boy, 2 brains, 1 controller losing out on tech as well. Now down to 6 squads, 17 players remaining currently, as Intel just doing a really good job of controlling the north side of the zone. And at some point, it looks like they will have to pull away and make their way across that lava river at the very least. But more importantly, they have to deal with the threat behind them. It's going to be Cooler behind them as well. And these are our 2 teams currently leading the lobby. Team Intel, Team Cooler. Cooler on the other side of this door already, looking to get aggressive. Thermite down, does burn away onto Tempest as he pops that cell. And now there's an opening there with the door broken.
This is a very intense fight because when this happens, we're going to see where the zone's going to pull to. And if it pulls over towards where Intel is, this fight means even more. So it's not on the opposite side. It's by the jungle gym where they could play the high ground and wrap around and slide in and have the ultimate high ground throughout all of this situation, because the teams from top middle will eventually have to leave. So whoever wins that fight between Intel and Cooler going to have a big advantage, as the rest of these teams towards the bottom side are going to have to duke it out. Keep in mind, again, there is a team over still towards the top center. I think that's 303. So we see what's happening with the bubble being popped there for Hill. He does get charged immediately, has the armor swap. You see 303 gets involved throughout all this too and helps them out over towards the side. Intel picks up some kills and also going to disrespect the bodies of Cooler throughout all of that. But again, 303 over towards the top center area, really helping out. They're still putting in some work. If we could see what's going on with Senpai's screen, they are really causing trouble for the rest of this lobby.
Yeah, TSM, they felt the fury of 303. I believe Team Cheez It as well. They've just kind of been this attack drone from up top. You've been now setting up that port to get on top of the platform for his squad, setting that one up early. We've got another 20 seconds before the zone starts closing. And really, they're already running the edge of it, so they can take their time here on top. The unfortunate thing is, while they have time to work with, they don't have as much ammo to work with. Oi Senpai now down to about 3-4 clips total. He's not connecting with these shots. Unfortunately, that's going to allow Intel to get in, and that's the poor play to get underneath. But oh no, Teen has to drop and get back on up, but the zone is already closing. He needs to heal. The bubble is there for the fast heal at the very least. He'll be able to get the bat off, but now they have to commit on to this one or just slide down. We'll see what they do in just a second. It's going to be the slide down, and now they have to contest with that team above them and below them. They already lost one. That's going to be Third Impact. Team Intel get wiped up. And it was just a duo of Third Impact playing down here. They do lose one, but Team Razor throughout all of that, because 303 were focusing on the north side, allows Razor to find a position here in the ring. We're down to our top 4 squads remaining, with, I believe, 1 rat still left, and that it was going to be Zicky to go down. Now down to our final 3 squads.
We'll see what Razor's going to be able to do if they have to deal with this solo to the side. Big thermite coming through. Zeratricky takes massive damage, only popping cells throughout all that. Must not have any big heals as he does continue with the cells instead of a Phoenix. Port coming in from just like Hakulo to avoid the grenades. I like this play. They also have a box play over towards the side. Now they have to worry about above them. 117 spray immediately as Mercy still has to heal. So does the other player on his team, Zeratricky. No big heals towards the end of the game is a tough situation. You know who's loving this is the rat towards the side.
Yeah, scans out, putting a stop to Scissors as he is going to be forced to bat now. And slowed down. The ring does pull away this time, going down towards the south, and so now they put themselves in a very dangerous spot here. 4 kills, 4 Scissors, and he really wants to find these. 303 have been putting in work all game long, getting that early position on top of the tower now. Now they are the ones that are out of position currently here. But they've got a lot of cover to work with, along with the replicator to get them the additional meds that they need for this. Here comes the full push coming out from Team Razor. They already got the first knock, second knock onto Yubin, and now there's only 1 remaining on the side of 303. What a great push coming out from them here. Zeratricky does cover Hakulo's retreat, but now he has to go into that queue, making the blind rotate in as he's trying to get the information for his squad. There's a Bloodhound right in front of them, and it looks like it's gonna be Team Sentinels there on the south side as a full 3-man, biding their time, taking the win.
So, dude, what were you doing? Man, I was crafting batteries still. Like, I needed 20 batteries. The 19 that I had wasn't enough. But nice job by Sentinels. It looked like they were just a solo player over towards the side. I thought it was a rat, but you don't expect a full 3-man squad as skilled as Sentinels just to sit back and play that patient. But either way, great job by them picking up the dub.
Yeah, it was a much slower game for Sentinels there, but you know, they were able to creep up with that, and I was surprised that honestly they were able to play that position. We are going to go ahead and take a short break. When we get back, we'll have games number 5 and 6 here for Series E. So don't go anywhere, guys. We'll be right back.
He's 90. He's cracked. Push. One shot down. All right, move in. 2v1, go. Hey, what's up, guys? I'm Tempest. I play Apex for Intel, and you're watching Series E.
Welcome back, guys, to Series E as we are getting ready to head into game number 5 here for Pro Night for Intel Week. And, you know, Intel have been doing a fantastic job. Unfortunately, not able to close out that one for them in a very tough spot in that late game. But we're seeing the consistency coming out of this squad. And Tom, you mentioned it before. Maybe we should just see this team just compete as a full 3-man again and again because they are doing so damn well.
Just really impressed with their zone placement and their knowledge based on not having a recon player, because everyone else is playing a recon character and they're just kind of playing off of that, and their positioning is based off of just the zones that they're seeing without type of scan. So let's take a look at the leaderboard and see if they're able to hold on to this top spot. And they are, but barely, as Cooler's right on their heels. Razor starting to pick it up too with 42 points, 13 behind.
Yeah, despite that being a very important team fight win for them to have taken, when Cooler pushed their building on their northwest side, with the help of 303, by the way, right? Cooler are still right on their heels, 2 points down. Razor are still in contention. CLG are in contention. Hell, I would even say 303 and 2 Brains, 1 Controller with 2 games left to go have a big chance to get into this. Again, it's a 6-game set. It's not the marathon that we're normally used to on the 8-game nights. And so big pop-offs can definitely propel you into the top of the leaderboards here, especially with the split basically amongst our like top 8 teams currently in the lobby right now. So Intel still have to play at the top of their game right now if they want to maintain this lead. They have been doing a fantastic job today.
And it all starts with the drops, right? And you look at the teams that are really struggling, and a team like Applejack's not even able to find a landing spot, and it's difficult to go through that type of phase. And hopefully that, you know, when it comes down to the next tournament or next week when they go and play, they're able to find their spot. But this has been a free fragment drop for Intel, and it's one of the best loot areas. It's also, like you were saying, one of the best spots to rotate, and they'll take this any day of the week, especially because there's no beacon over here and they're not even playing a recon character again. So nice start for Teen as he finds that R9, and I believe he has a Mastiff in his back pocket, so that's super ideal for your Wraith. As soon as he's able to find some armor, he's going to be Thuman. But a team that's not Thuman is Pop-Tarts over towards Survey with another 50-50.
Yeah, it's just the homeless Pop-Tarts right now who have been trying to figure out a drop for the Pro Knights here. Oh boy, Lucas did some decent damage and he pulls out that All-Star to get the knock onto Jazz, but it's a 1v1. He's only got about 20 HP left. Up against that Gibraltar, has to crack that arm shield first, goes for the second peek, and he does go down. Never mind, Ziki was actually healthy this entire time. It was only Jazz that fell there, and so third impact will be able to bounce back from this one. We'll see if a third party comes in. Maybe Applejacks are fast on the rotates, but it doesn't seem like it. Never mind. Cheese it, I mean. It doesn't look like it though, and so third impact will be able to just fully heal up. Hopefully, Jazz still not healing quite yet, but he does have that bat finally to work off of, and so a lot of the early game fightings has kind of slowed down from how we started off the beginning of the day.
He's not healing because the loot and Survey is buns, and he can't find anything to heal off of because it's all guns. So now we look at the other fight that's been happening over towards the Geyser side. It's Team Razor. They're dipping out for the first time. Not able to finish off their kills, not going to fully engage. Looks like they have more than enough loot, and it's also about that time to start making your rotation, as they could gatekeep this team if they wanted to a little bit later. So I like this play. The longer they fight, the longer they're going to just expend the resources. There's not many resources over towards the Geyser side. There is loot on the way out over here, however, and it's on the way. So a really smart play and good call by Team Razor. Just let them fight another day, and unlike Teen, they're able to hit this gold, and Look what happens, team. When you hit it on gold instead of purple, you get a gold backpack for your Gibraltar. Every single time you shoot that, there's a gold bag in there, I've heard.
Yeah, I like this decision you were talking about, of course, just leaving out of that fight. They have the extra cursory loot, right? They took the western side of Geyser. That allows them the priority to move up here, pick up this loot. They started it off with getting a purple armor for Hakulo. So you take that loot win, at the very least, back away and try to find a more along the way here. Still, though, it's about that gatekeeping effort. Nice utilization of that headshot angle for themselves. So we join on board with 2 brains, 1 controller, who have already made the rotate here, but there's a team that might be CLG standing in their way. I want to say over here by what's usually the beacon building. Bowser now creeping on up from the low ground. Knocked does have to get a bat off before he can make a move here. It's Tech from behind with that triple take, giving them a covering fire. Might go for that air burst with the nade. It looks like they have safely made it at least underneath, setting up the Watson traps early on as well to hold off what might be a push. It's reps though, TSM versus Intel. Intel have already lost Hill, and that might still be taking place over maybe by Epicenter there. It's on board with Team Razor that are taking their time. They found another purple armor for themselves as well. And yeah, it is still over, actually over by Fragment West. They recover the beacon, the banner for Hill, and they have an opportunity to try and get that res. We'll see if they can go all the way down. It looks like to construction to get that for himself.
If they do get the res, it's not going to be the end of the world, because as long as you have your Gibraltar with his dome and at least a gray armor, you're going to be in an okay situation. But here's the gatekeep that's still happening for Team Razor, and you can see how smart it was to back off. They were rewarded with a gold bag, they got an extra purple armor, and now Hakulo doing a lot of damage, and the rest of his team going to have to collapse with this door as being extremely annoying, and a nice job by Applejacks living as long as possible. Now third party going to start to come in. Unfortunate for, it looks like Team Razor most likely going to go down here very shortly, but it's a little late, and I was surprised they weren't there a little bit earlier, but there it is. Sentinel's going to be able to finish them off, and a lot of loot in this building. Nice job by Sentinels, good timing. Unlucky for Team Razor. I felt like it was pretty risky to go and gatekeep at that time. This is when everyone really starts to rotate. You already let off a lot of shots throughout all of that, so they could have just took what they had, the gold bag, etc., made the rotation and found their way towards the zone. Instead, they got a little bit greedy, went for the kills, and got third party. LG, Disbelief in a tough spot here. Both of his teammates are down just on the Gibraltar, most likely not going to be able to do anything here. So let's go and see what's happening with maybe Team Intel and see if they were going to be able to get that res back off and get Hill back into the game.
It looks like that they were, because I don't see the beacon anymore on top of Con. I don't know. We'll find out in just a moment, though. On board with Liquid, who are still over at Harvester now, making the rotation up. They are coming, of course, from the southwest part of the map over by Tree. Now, here's the move going through Train Yard as well. The Beast of the Hunt has already been used by Flanker here to give them the additional scans. Another one as they push through this. And it's very important, of course, having that scan with the caustics in play in this lobby to be able to spot out any traps along the way. It's Team Rockstar, though, in a fight now. This might be Sentinels ahead of them, as the defensive bombardment has already been used by Rakinishu, and they will be able to pick up some cursory loot here, as maybe Sentinels just backed up off of this instantly now. With 17 squads and 49 players remaining, again, you have to consistently worry about the third party here in the early game.
It's going to be another one of those slow games, and it's going to be a situation where round 4, round 5 just completely blows up. Tons of fighting happening back and forth. Looks like Rakinishu is going to pick that up and try to charge it back up with some cells. Plenty of loot here, plenty of ammo. Going to be able to get a lot of shots, heavy ammo for his flatline. So nice job by Rockstar, avoiding all the riffraff of the third parties and coming through with some strong. Ooh, nice grenade from Dracos, though, across the train car. That's not an easy grenade to land. Let's see if Ronnie's going to be able to follow this one up. Likes to hit the Q and go up safely over towards his teammates, but surprised they don't get aggressive with that initial damage coming through with the grenade. They did have a Pathfinder, so they could have elected to maybe grapple over there or make a play, but this is the play, I think, from 2 brains, 1 controller underneath the building, making their way over towards CLG. It's going to be Bowser with the initial knock onto Pow. Great EMP coming in from Tech and the follow-up from Bowser.
The timing on that was fantastic coming out from two brains, one controller. It looked like it was a kidnap attempt coming out from Madness because Nox still has his portal there, and so it definitely was, which got turned on its side. But here comes the push now out from TSM as Tech gets that first knock onto Imperial Hell, but here's Snapdown from behind, and TSM get this win. They still need to recover Imperial Hell, though. Here comes the scan from Snipedown, who still doesn't have any armor. Walks into that Watson fence to clear that one up, and CLG will go down as well. Vaxlon going down as they get the res. Na'Vi coming in for the third party, but the timing isn't there for them as TSM should be able to fully recover. They're even getting on out as Max Strafey coming in for the EMP onto TSM. Do they connect with it as Ballon G will finish off Madness? Here comes the caustic gas. Claws holding onto it for now. And he does get shot here. So it looks like TSM might have been able to just get out of dodge for free. And now, big fight over this building time and again. Na'Vi will be able to slow things down. The defensive bombardment was used on top of them, but they're completely safe underneath the building. It's third impact on the other side, holding the train platform.
With all these top teams posturing over here, has to be the ending right over towards this building that's on the fence. And now you see Na'Vi making their play, but it's a knock. Reps with the massive peeking through the door. Gonna have to hit that battery. Not able to. He's taking some damage from a thermite. That's gonna be 2 knocks. Snipe down. Last guy alive. Trying to avoid this caustic gas through all that, but it is a 1-1 situation. Snipe down going up against Nesh. Nesh sends it on him. Snipe down wasn't expecting that. Very rarely do you see Snipe down lose a 1v1 just like that. Not sure if he was missing his scan or he just wasn't expecting a player to push through that caustic gas there. Heads up play there by Nesh. Will he be able to recover his teammates? Intel underneath the building. They were able to fully recover. Hill back into the game. Pops that bubble for his teammates, but this building, it's got so many different teams towards it.
It's fight after fight as, yeah, Team Intel tried to come in for the third party, but instantly they were pushed from behind as well. Everyone coming in from the same angle right now. We'll see if Team Intel can take that building for now. Na'Vi were able to recover at the very least. Claws just got rezzed up, but Max Strafing goes down now. Hill pushing in. They will continue this push with Tempest on the front line with that masked about. He does back away though, as Hill now trades in to push in, but they have to be careful. There is the caustic gas doing so much damage. They drop back down to the low ground as Teen goes down. It's Cooler coming up behind as well. No, it's Team Pringles actually. It was Nasky with the triple take from long range to get that knock, and they know how important it is to take Intel out here in game number 5. And now Cooler are sitting in a pretty position to try and take back the point lead. Rockstar in a fight though over at Fragment West currently right now. Rakanishu is forced to pop that bat as there's a team across the ways from them. That's going to be LG. Disbelief going down now. Crummy will port them out of danger here, making their way to that top of the broken building. Can go over to the market if he wants, but this is a much safer position for them. They do just recover for now, regroup, and decide how they want to play the rest of this one out. Nice peak angle for Rakanishu. He's got that Hemlock, hits for the purple, doesn't do enough damage though. That's Cheez-Its just to the north of them over in Fragment West. Cheez-Its are able to make it out. They have control over this building.
This building is a very solid position to hold if you want to be a late rotator over towards the side and try to mess up those teams that are holding those blue containers over there. But it looks like Pringles has elected to take the roof of the building. That's been the death building. Every single team that's pushed in here has had to deal with so much diversity. Hundreds now taking some damage. Gonna have to play the backside of the roof. Wondering if he needs to get a bubble from his teammates or just use the big boy shield that's in front of him. Meanwhile, Ronnie gets knocked by Bird over on your screen with the triple take. No finish quite yet, so must have been from long range. Should be able to get the res right there, but no scans coming in quite yet. 90% sure this is going to end exactly on that building. Again, that's why we've seen so many players going over there. But Rice Krispies playing the edge now, fighting the players that are rotating over towards the side. You can see a lot of players over towards the left, a bunch of ants over towards the screen. They could elect to play the high ground here if they wanted to, but it looks like based on the nades that Bird's throwing, there's already a team over there. So this is 3 teams just on this particular side.
Yeah, a lot of teams just funneling from the southwest, continuing to find themselves coming in here. This is the building, the focus, and we're seeing that funnel there just to the south of them now. But it's finally Team Pringles who have gained control of the building. They have the roof as well to play off of because someone set up those zip lines for them. It's NPL's Dracos there that's kind of caught out by himself. He does have E-Boy Ronnie there as well, but they are just playing as a duo. Bambino going down early on, was not recovered ever here. So we'll see if they can survive this one for now, going for that peak, but it's a dangerous, dangerous pop position. Again, he's going up against a Gibraltar on the other side, and sniper battles tend to favor the Gibraltar player. And that's as they're using up what looks like the last of their meds. Dracos, his head barely peeking out over the ledge. He gets tagged massively. Do they have any more heals for him? That looks like that's just the bottom of the barrel now. The last remaining cells going on over to heal up here for Team NPL.
Yeah, they're doing the old Halo tactic, the old strong side maneuver, dipping your head over towards the ground, trying to make yourself a little less of a target. Now you see what Rice Krispies' plan is. They've now rotated over towards the truck, cleared out the side, heads up play, and they're hitting a nice long distance shot with the longbow throughout all of this, really holding off the multiple teams that were in the vicinity, and they only have a little bit of ground to make up. 20 seconds left, still plenty of time. I love this from Sung. Very underrated aspect of Caustic is if you need to advance, this is how you do it. A couple of barrels in front of you, and now you own this real estate and what's behind you. So he's just going to continue to pick these up and place them where he wants them and focus the team towards the right, which is the right way to play this one. Bird needs to be in the vicinity that if Sung does take damage, that he can lay down the bubble, because I love the positioning that Sung's in. And again, they have that team over towards the side. So if they could group up a little bit more and keep it a little bit tighter, they're going to be able to get out of that position. Another team that's hanging around is Cooler. And that's the team that we need to watch out for, because we know what happened with Team Intel. They got taken out. If Cooler gets taken out, they're not going to be able to pick up that many points. Keep in mind, breaking into the top 10 is going to be able to get you that extra 1 placement point. But right now, they're not really rocking that many points. Just about 2 or 3 points on the board for Cooler, which is around what they need to make up for first place.
Yeah, and Cooler finding themselves in engagement as well, playing the north side of this ring, currently just on the outskirts of Skyhook. It looks like NPL basically on their last leg. Draco's getting re-knocked, and then finished off by a Bird. Joining Rockstar, though, here on the opposite side of the zone, currently on the east side. Got a nice little angle to work with as a defensive bombardment comes down on top of them, but they are safe with that Watson generator down for them. Crummy using that med kit for now, which means Rakinishu goes for the front lines, has to hold that for themselves. Now they're starting to make the move. We've got the ring going on over towards that platform, just a classic ring out as Cooler back away off of this currently. Defensive bombardment has gone down. Nasky dropping down to the low. He's got the massive out, but he doesn't hit the first shot here. Zubin on the other side, Sola feeding on the other side, and that knock onto Sir Dell, finishing him off, and Cooler are out. They did not break the top 10 like you were asking for, Tom.
That's huge for Team Intel. They're going to be loving that after watching Solafide come through and get the revenge. Keep in mind, Solafide lost a fight badly earlier to Cooler. They sent it there. And typically Cooler is the aggressive team, but instead, Solafide coming through. Now it's nice to see Cheez-It making their way over towards this zone, and this could go one of 2 ways, as we do see nades getting knocked by Balan G. Unfortunate. Looked like they were just making a nice rotation, but Rice Krispies fought their way all the way over towards this platform now. This is the hardest part, is making it up over towards this hill. You have at least 2 or 3 teams in the area. One player is going to get a very aggressive. That's going to be Flanker. Flanker sending it in very early. The rest of Team Liquid caught in this gas. Good spray by Song. He gets it in the middle of the gas so he can try to heal up with just a little HP, but you can see 1 HP coming in for Flanker. Hodsik now the last guy alive in a 2 versus 1 situation. We'll be able to get this battery off, but how much longer before the rest of these players charge? You can see the push coming through. Hodsik with a nice play. Is the last guy alive? Will he be able to stay alive though? No. Bird, long range massive shot there. Gonna connect. I've always wondered why the massive hits for 44 from that range.
It's absolutely insane, but here's Pringles trying to gatekeep on the north hand side. This is the spot that Cooler were playing before. Now it's been taken over by Team Pringles. We know That, of course, Solafide is on the other side of this one, and they're going to get pressure now. The zone coming in. Here comes the defensive bombardment from Stink as well. The G7 Scouts cracking the armor too, as they have all the pressure being put down onto Solafide now. Defensive bubble has been used, but it's a little bit late there as a result. It has gone down. Gentrifying trying to hold down the front line. Pulls out. That PK does a lot of damage. Gets the knock onto 100 there. Forced to use that Q early on, as it looks like a lot of teams getting involved in this fight. It's Team Pringles, though, really clutching that one up, it looks like, as Stink finishes off Gentrifying and Costello's taking out Designful. They'll have the armor swaps for themselves here. They lose hundreds throughout all of that right now. And there is a res still in play, but with 7 squads, it's going to be a very difficult task to try and do that, especially without having your Wraith to do that for them. But it's all about recovery here, spotting one out to their east. Decent damage once again with that G7 Scout. Pringles now forced to play as a 2-man.
You're not the homie unless you go for the res right here, Casella. Someone's got to get the banner. Rockstar's going to go down. Jazaz fighting the knock for third impact. Looks like he's going to be able to take his portal back, though, right onto Pickett's generator. So nice job getting back into this one and living to fight another day as we see who's in the power position right now. It is third impact. Even though they don't have a Watson, holding this blue trailer is going to be great. A lot of teams have already used the majority of their nades, most likely, too. So with 5 kills and the power position, this is looking like a big game for a third impact, and they needed it, too. Remember, they only had around 3 points at the halftime mark. So one of our EU teams that's fully capable of making a big run towards the tail end here. And a lot of our teams that were really fighting towards the top 3 area are in this final circle here. So a big mix-up and very fun zone. This one should pull, again, where third impact is going. So they're just going to continue to try to gatekeep over here. And I like this nice defensive bombardment for Ball on G. He's going to be able to get the next one up by the time the final zone comes too. But we got to give props, Jamerson, to Rice Krispies. They've now made it all the way to the building.
They've recovered. They've got the Gibraltar and the Cossack here in the late game, and this is absolutely massive. But there's a counter Cossack on the other side. Stunny taking a lot of damage from that one, so they've got to be careful. Here comes the push out. Sung is the one that wins that one out. Continues to push up and takes out Na'Vi. We're down to 6 squads remaining here. 1 rat left in the middle. Actually, might be 2 duos actually here remaining, as Rice Krispies recovering with that bubble as well. Bird needs to heal up, but Stunny will continue to push out with that Mastiff out. He cleans that one up. Another one right in front of him. He will be able to finish him off. And now we are down to 3 squads remaining. Third impact taking a lot of damage there. Unfortunately, they get finished off. It's going to be Team Rice Krispies versus Sentinels right now. Sung getting that knock, and it looks like they will be able to finish this one off. Surely it's a 3v2, but they tried to back set off, drop down low. 1v2 now. It's all up to Retzi here. He doesn't have any armor to work with, and Rice Krispies will take game number 5.
That's the Rice Krispies that we know and love, the team that won an ALGS tournament, and they're coming through with Sung on the Caustic, and I love to see that. He was able to counter Caustic Gas over towards the bottom, and they just really showed what they were made of towards the tail end of the game. That's when they play at their best, is when they start to steamroll and play with confidence. Great job by Rice Krispies.
And also going back to just an older composition for themselves and really utilizing that well. So congratulations, Rice Krispies, taking game number 5. And honestly, with our top 2 teams going down early on, this does leave a lot of room open in game number 6 for a lot of teams to contend for the first and second place positions, which is why it's super important that you don't go anywhere during this break. You will be back for game number 6, which will just basically spill it all out for us here in Intel Week. So don't go anywhere, guys. We'll be right back.
What's up? I'm Hill from Team Intel, and I use an i7 9700K.
This lobby is absolutely insane to think about. Great shots there with the Spitfire. Going to take a lot of damage onto that Gibraltar. The bubble gets used, but that's not going to be enough. This is Team Cheez-Its flying in. Oh my gosh, are you insane?
Intel, the best a gamer can get.
Welcome back, guys. It's the final game of the night, and it's going to be a super important one. A lot of teams clamoring for the first and second place positions here, as those are the only two that will be sharing the $500 pot. So let's go ahead and take a look at the leaderboard to see who is fighting for that right now. Definitely Team Intel and Cooler still in the running. 57 points. Team Intel maintained their lead up against Cooler Esports by those 2 points. But Sentinels, with two really big games in a row, games number 4s and 5 are now in contention, along with Team Razor and Hell. Team Rice Krispie Treats and CLG, along with 303, are still in the running for this one.
Yeah, and Navi, I'd say that's kind of where the list would probably end. Maybe if Two Brains One Controller has a ridiculous game, pops off, gets a ton of kills, and the rest of these teams kind of flop. But really looking at those top 8, they stand a chance. 20 points is a pretty solid win if they're able to pull that one off. But either way, Team Intel having a great start, and they're lucky that Cooler was taken out because they dropped a little bit early, and I think they were the team that was watching Team Cooler from the death feed as that was happening too. So watch out for Sentinels. Sentinels has been kind of flying out under the radar throughout all this. Razor's been poking and priding through, and now that Rice Krispies heated up too, if they can get back-to-back wins, we could see them be the champions.
Yeah, it was super important, of course, these last 2 games. And we talk about it time and again. The format changes things up. A 6-game format, it's relatively short compared to the 8 that we have. And it's less about consistency throughout the 6-game format, where if you can honestly just have 2 or 3 pop-off games, you just went off the back of that right now. Team Intel started off the night strong. They had the first win of the night. They took a second victory as well, which is why they're currently sitting in first place, but not by much.
Yeah, and they're going to just continue to play the way that they have, I'm sure. They just got caught on a rotation, and also they couldn't have, there wasn't much real estate to work with in that building. They went through a nice process of going and checking what was going on from the second floor. You saw a nice knock coming through, but it was just third party after third party. I think we saw maybe about 15 separate fights.
Yeah, there were so many fights. It was definitely just the king of the hill there for that building. Joining on board with the winners of our last match, Team Rice Krispie Treats, Sung, Stunny, and Bird. You know, they've been having some trouble trying to get this composition to the late game, but we get to see exactly why it is so damn strong. They're still really within the running. 17 points down from Team Intel currently, who's sitting in first place. And so Team Rice Krispie Treats, if they can do this again, there's still a chance for them to get into the top 2, maybe even take first place position away right now. Not contested this time around, as we saw, I believe, Pop-Tarts dropping here. Was it game number 5 or game number 4? I can't quite remember. But they did get challenged in one of the games at the very least. But Pop-Tarts learned their lesson, dropped somewhere else. No early game fighting quite yet, but we might see that Applejacks and Team Razor fight over by Geyser, the last game of the day.
Yeah, and like you said, they learned their lesson. And if you were watching Rice Krispies fight towards the oh, Pop-Tarts getting involved with third impact. If we could hop out and over to that fight. While on G, first one to get knocked in the game as Blight was able to find that one, and it is happening over towards the epicenter side. Blight switching on over to the Pathfinder, actually getting a little bit more aggressive with the skirmishes, and it pays off here as they're able to find the first squad wipe of the game. Nice job making a little bit of adjustment. Obviously hasn't been working out for Pop-Tarts. They're not only in the bottom of the leaderboard today, but also I think 8th overall out of all of our partner teams. So they're going to really need to start stepping it up and switching it up if they want to try to avoid the relegation.
Yeah, it's been very, very difficult night for Team Pop-Tarts, having to consistently change where they drop. And Imperial Hal coming in with TSM for that delayed third party, but the fast res will be used onto Blight. He can, of course, just swing away, and TSM just were not able to get into position for that, even though Imperial Hal just on the edge of that bubble for now. But they do at least force them away from the loot, and so TSM will be able to pick that up. So that's a nice consolation prize for them.
And the reason that they're rotating is because you can see the scan that happened. The zone is going to be ending over here. So if we can look at the mini map, that'll tell us exactly where that one's going to go, because this is a very different type of zone that is fairly easy to predict based on if you could see how much of a refinery would be in. Looks like a lot of it will be in because only an edge of epicenter is here, but we could definitely say that Hal, since the Wraith changes a while back, has become much less aggressive than he would have before. Back when Wraith hit the instant Q, 1000% he charges that bubble, sees what he can get away with, possibly a knock or two, and then dips out and the rest of his teammates would follow up. But we're seeing a different Hal. He's really pulled the reins back and kind of plays around his team a little bit more, and it's just, you know, it's what you got to do. You got to adapt with the changes. And, you know, Wraith just isn't as strong as she used to be. I think that she's going to continue to get changes as well going to Season 8. So you're just going to have to continue to adapt.
Team Razor losing one throughout all that. It was Sentinels' Senox that actually was able to take them out. And that's an important fight to keep track of as well currently, because Razor, they were in the 4th place position with 45 points. Sentinels are in the 3rd place position with 49 points. And it doesn't even look like they were able to recover Zero Tricky's banner quite yet as well. So a very tough spot for Team Razor, who were contending for the top 2 finish here, as we do have the Phoenix kit being used, and looks like they're just going to let that banner time out. We'll see if there's an opportunity maybe to come back. 40 more seconds left on it, but from this position, it's such a difficult task. Maybe Hakulo has the portal, and it looks like they will go ahead and double back for this. They understand the position that they're in. If they want the win, they need a full 3-man here. They need to pick up extra KP. It's not just about getting the placement points, and we do have a better information about where that ring is. Continues to pull up to the north side here. 2 Brains, 1 Controller in position for this balloon and controlling the tunnels for now. You know, if I'm going to bet any money on late game circles, definitely going to go with 2 Brains, 1 Controller's decision here.
No doubt about it. The brains of the operation operating at maximum force right now as they find themselves in a pretty powerful position. And Tech just using the EMP to charge up his Evo shield as he continues to try to lay down damage and just be a nuisance over towards this side of the map. And we've seen CLG get this position before, and now we know where this one's going to pull. It's going to be this ending right over where they're holding down. And they're going to be blessed with, looks like a nice little care package too. Possibly a PK. PK, anybody? What was in there? What was in there? Gold helmet? Yeah, gold.
Gold helmet is nice at the very least to go on to that
Yeah.
Gibraltar. Ronnie has one of his own. As
If you're
again, the fight
optimistic.
over to this building currently. Ooh, nice nade coming out from Rugby there. That might be the opening for them to try and get aggressive on this team. But it looks like the call was made to just back up off of this one now, as they want to prioritize getting that beacon. Of course, they do have main control over this building for that beacon, as they do have that crypto to pull that up for them.
I don't think LG is used to playing in an area where teams are as strong as predicting circles like Two Brains, One Controller and CLG. Nice little burst there onto Pop-Tart's Fat Fruit Ninja as Applejack's going to start infiltrating this building. Ting is going down. They know where the portal was, and they're going to figure out this player's over towards the top-hand side. Nice job there, knocking down Lucas and finishing off Fat Fruit Ninja, as it looks like Tech's getting into it with, I think, Na'Vi, while Nestle Pure Life in a fight too. It looks like Strafe, Max Strafe on that crypto takes a lot of damage, and now it's up to Claus on the Caustic as the last guy alive. Bowser should be healthy throughout all this, and he's also running through the fences, so that should give away exactly where Claus is going to be. There goes the finish coming in from behind onto Nesh, and now Claus has been spotted. A couple of cells, no barrels in his back pocket to use. CLG's on the hunt. You have Two Brains, One Controller in the area. Rockstar fighting over towards No Name. A lot of action out of nowhere. We were silent up until this point.
Yeah, CLG, they get the finish off onto Max Strafe here. Bubble Raz onto Crummy, but he cannot stick it currently. Matt Pickett isn't there to cover for him, as the aggressive bubble comes out from Sentinels. The knock onto Rakanishu. It's all up to Matt Pickett here, but Senox and Sentinels doing what we know of them. That late game run, the late tournament run, where they just start running through the lobby here, finishing them all off. Matt Pickett, he still needs to heal up here, but Sentinels should not give up the chase. We know how determined they can be when they smell blood in the water. Matt Pickett will be given a moment of reprieve there, so at least get that bat off. Two Brains, One Controller survive for now. CLG on the other side of this one. You still have to be careful. Bowser taking a lot of damage from the ring, but he will be able to get in. Elects to, of course, heal up outside for now, as it is just the first zone. Doesn't tick for as much, and there's a med kit for him to use as well.
A lot of our top teams getting in some big fights here. Sentinels creeping up. I believe they were in third place. I think we're at around 49 points overall, so they're going to continue to make a case for trying to take over one of these top two spots. We know that Intel was sitting over towards the top, and Cooler, we haven't seen much action for them quite yet. Applejack's getting knocked. Flanker using the L-Star. Hodsick getting involved as well. They're going to drop Team Applejacks in the kill feed. Missed that one, but let's look at what our other teams are doing. Let's take a look at what maybe Cooler's doing, or Team Intel, because I feel like Team Two Brains, One Controller is going to make a push here anytime soon.
Yep, this is a big fight still on the south side of this tunnel right now. Pringles versus Cooler. They are putting in some good work. Casellas does finally answer back, but it's still a 1v2. Casellas with about 40 HP total right now. We'll just back up off of this one as he pops that bat and slides away with that extra movement speed. Nasky finishes off Stink, and hundreds will go down as well. We'll see how aggressive Cooler want to continue here in this lobby. They need to make sure, of course, they have a good finish here. Only 2 points behind Team Intel currently. Two Brains, One Controller to their north. That could be the next target in mind for them.
Yeah, I think it's basically tied, right? So they pick up 2 kills there, so should be a very tight race here between Team Intel and Cooler. Sentinels in the conversation as well. But 303, they've had a pretty solid performance. They had a great win on the thermal station ending. I think it was in game number 4. See what Scissors is going to be able to do, and if he's going to be able to land some long-range shots. Double long-range guns coming in for Senpai. And he's going to be rocking the Hemlock Scout, which is a pretty deadly combination on the Gibraltar. Like you were saying, Jamerson, when you go up against a sniper, I would consider both of those guns kind of like snipers. You don't want to be going up against the Gibraltar with the armed shield. So 303 really just kind of being annoying with a lot of poke over here towards the side. And Euban's going to try to get aggressive once they land some big damage.
Yeah, 303 are also in the running. We have to remember that with that win that they took, like you mentioned, in game number 4. You know, they're currently sitting in 7th place right now with 39 points. But they need to get the kill points as well. They're trailing by 18 points to Team Intel right now. And so these early game frags, these mid game frags, if anything, what would net them the win, but they need to find the opening. We'll see. Yuban now on the low ground with that Bolt, just keeping an eye ever on the squad to their east as we join on board with Team Nestle Pure Life, who have just been able to take control of this building, the beacon building.
The death building.
And once Bambino gets up there, yeah, they should be able to get that beacon for themselves as Bambino trying to eye how he's going to get up there, slide in, climb on up. We'll find out in just a moment. No, there might be a team that's still inside.
Throughout all this, someone's ratting in, and they're going to put in the bubble, trying to separate these guys. Everyone's in a corner. Look out. It's going to be LG making, I guess, their best E-Boy Ronnie impression over towards the corner. And Ronnie says, no, that's my impression. I know how to hide. I get in corners. And Draco's going to body disrespect too, but there's the third party throughout all this. And Draco's going to love that he's playing Pathfinder right there, but doesn't hit the fattest grapple we've ever seen. Gets a little bit of a death slide through all that. And now we get a chance to see what's going on with Team Intel. Thank you. Been waiting to see what's going on with them. Liquid was the team with the third party, but we need to keep track of our top 4 teams, really. We need to keep on track with Intel. We need to be watching Razor, Sentinels, and Cooler. So Cooler gets a knock on a Navi and a finish on the Claws. So overall right now, they are having our best performance out of our top 5 teams. And Team Liquid, not in position to win, but either way could put up a big game and gain confidence for their team.
Cooler doing a good job of controlling the entrance into the train now. Really the only one from this western side, as they've got a team pinned down on top of the tower. Here comes the Thermite as Sir Del decides to full send it on in on that Pathfinder, and he clears out that angle for them, and so they will be able to maintain that position. Senox is able to finally find out Matt Pickett and takes out Team Rockstar. Sentinel is another squad that we have to look at. Again, they're in the top 3. They were trailing by 8 points, but they basically made up ground on Team Intel and Team Cooler at this point. Here comes a port play out from Retzi, gets him right underneath this squad here on the northwest side. Retzi with the wingman, aiding for the blue. They're trying to put on the pressure. Here comes the airburst nades along with the arc star now. Its defensive bombardment is used. Senox get that first knock onto Oi Senpai. 303 Esports now on the back foot here as Retzi will be able to get that thirst onto Oi Senpai. There's one more below him. They're trying to port him out. He does not get the knock onto him. Retzi has to back away, pop that Phoenix kit for now, but he will go down. Cheez It coming in for the third party here. Imperial Hell trying to get involved as well with that port as he positions TSM for this one.
Hill was actually able to pick up a kill in your kill feed towards the top right, finding the first points for Team Intel in this game. Big turn of events right there. Is looked like Sentinels was just going to continue to heat up and had some great shots and angles, but like you said, multiple third parties. Cheez-Its in the vicinity. TSM looks interested as well. And this is one of our slower final games that we've seen, Jamerson, in Series E.
Yeah, you can see every team really considering their movements here, as it is a very difficult position here on the eastern side. More teams than I think people were expecting to really be here, as Rice Krispies, there's a team that were getting gate kept by. Cooler now porting into the caravan. They find a nice little nade for themselves as well, which could be crucial later on. But Rice Krispies using a lot of actually multiple squads. No, it's just Cooler up on top. Sir Del was able to take control of that tower we saw. Here come the nades to force him back just a bit. He's got the thermite out. But honestly, I want to see him try to use it on the right-hand side, clear the door on there. Let's create an angle for Nasky and Yuki, and that's exactly what he's going to do.
Smart play there. If he was going to use it on the left-hand side, it would have been more of a let me get out of here type of situation, because he is fairly split from his team. So if they realize that, they could try to make some sort of play by either zoning the team out with the caustic over towards the left and then sending it over towards them, but they have a hard time getting the high ground in this situation. There's the push coming in. Now Cooler going to start to make their way over towards the truck. They're going to realize they're dealing with the caustic team throughout all this, so they're going to have to chuck nades inside of the window. Nasty comes in and shoots the barrel, but it doesn't connect. Big grenade over towards the edge of the building. Is it going to connect? Nasty taking a ton of damage, gets the initial knock onto Sung. The gas is ticking, but it doesn't matter. The massive shots are out. Bird gets a knock. Stunny gets a knock. Somehow, Rice Krispie Treats turning this fight back around. Now it's up to Yuki.
He does have to be careful here. We know that another team was eyeing that position earlier on. He's taking a lot of damage from that caustic gas as he's really utilizing the knock shield from the other side. But here come the nades on out. Yuki has to force back into that queue as he backs away from this fight. And unfortunately, the third party might be just a little bit too strong. Stunny doing a good job of delaying this one out. And he'll be able to stick the res onto Sung. And even though they had a great entry there, Cooler just were not able to finish off this fight. Sung is going to be able to pop that Phoenix kit as it looks like the third party attempt getting slowed down. Unfortunately, they do lose Bird throughout all of this. Here come the nades, the thermite connecting right on top of Stunny. What a beautiful nade. Yuki has survived for now. Again, he needs to survive for much longer. Only placing top 13 and barely gets in there. Oh no, he gets hit by that movement speed slow as well. It's CLG playing on the northern side of the zone, currently powed down to critical damage. Does get the bat off and now starts that Phoenix kit, the med kit as Vaxlon holds that angle for his team, stops the push. Very crucial defensive play coming out from Vax.
Nice job by Pau with just a sliver of HP, getting away from that defensive bombardment, and is going to live. Heads up play by the rest of his team to add pressure too, so they can continue to get back into their little God spot cubby back here towards where this res is. But they're going to have to cross eventually. Not right now, but while this zone goes and closes, I don't think it's going to continue to pull back here. There's no way it actually ends right there. I feel like it has to go a little bit further. Props to Yuki throughout all this surviving and trying to find some more placement points throughout all this. Amazing that there's 11 squads left. Again, like you were saying, I don't think that anyone was anticipating these many teams and players left in such a small zone. Yuki somehow rotating in here for free. Does have a little bit of ground to make up, and you can see a team like Cheez-It just waiting to pick off players on the late rotation. They're holding the edge, have a little bit of a crevice to work with as we do see Rice Krispies eventually dropping to Team Liquid. They are the team that had the nasty thermite over towards the side. Meanwhile, Yuki, he was the team that was fighting over there with them as well. He's going to get dropped by Razor, so that's big for Team Intel throughout all this.
And CLG getting an eye of that ring. It pulls away from them, but just barely, and so they will have some cover, some positions to play off on the north side of that one right now. It's Cheez-It, though. They have to make a long trek up. There is a minute left, and so I don't know exactly when they put down their ports. There's an opportunity for them to just maybe get another one up. Looks like a lot of rats still alive here. I believe Yuki is still alive along with Mercy here for Team Razor. And it's so important because these are teams that are vying for that first and second place position with Cooler still alive. We need Mercy to stay alive. Pop-Tarts, remember they lost Lucas early on, were able to recover him. Unfortunately, as the defensive bombardment comes down, Blight gets tagged by that one, as he will drop now to the low ground as Team Cheez-Its come in to take the high ground position away from them and continue the push. It's going to be Vax from CLG that gets the knock on to Fat Fruit Ninja, but Pop-Tarts are now out of it here as Team Intel still alive. Happy to see this one as they get the first knock on to attack from 2 brains, 1 controller. Mercy only does get finished off by Imperial Hal. Intel, they're going to pop all their heals. They're going to pop that ultimate Excel as well for Tempest, as now the zone will start closing and they have to make a mad dash for this. They'll have the bubble in time from Hill for this rotation, but they have to run up now. No defensive bombardment as well for them as they are taking some zone damage, but with that defensive bombardment used by the team ahead of them, it's going to allow them some space here. Pushing up, Noct gets the kill on to Teen, and now 2 brains, 1 controller really turning the screws on to Team Intel. They're forced to just abandon Teen here. Hill taking a lot of damage as well. Tempest has gone down. Just like that, it's Hill by himself. Runs into another player. Who the hell was that? He does get that kill, it looks like, but he's by himself. Gold armor for himself now. It's top 4 squads, a solo. It's TSM that might be the only healthy team alive left in this lobby. CLG are on the other side. I don't know if they lost anyone. Things should slow down in this 3-team standoff.
What a big kill there from Hill. That extra kill point plus the placement point, could that be enough points for them to take first place here, knowing that Cooler was eliminated? Team Liquid flanker on that Bangalore. He's down. Nocturnal, it's up to him. I think it's TSM and CLG going to be duking it out, but you do have a very nice rotation coming in. The scan going to hit, though, from Snipe Down. They're going to realize exactly where that player is. Nocturnal doing whatever he can to just try to be the last person involved in this fight. Pau going to send it over towards the TSM bubble. Reps put the nice bubble. You have some great angles being taken as well. Gets the double knock there with the hemlock. Now Madness is the last guy alive. Keep in mind, Nocturnal healthy throughout all of this. Hal, only person that needs to heal up. And there it is. They spot him out as the last guy alive. TSM takes the final game.
And that's kind of the trouble that you run into as CLG not running that Bloodhound. They don't understand that there's the rat behind them, and so they full commit onto the 3v3 up against TSM instead of clearing that one out, you know, in another tournament's format with different kind of stakes at play. That could have been them just turning around, getting rid of the rat, picking up the extra KP, along with 2 additional placement points and such. But that's going to be TSM finally bouncing back, taking a win today. At the end of the day, we're going to go ahead and take a short break because we have a lot of things to tabulate to find out who the finalists of tonight are. So don't go anywhere, guys. We'll have the results right after this break.
I'm Hill. I play Apex Legends for Team Intel. The characters that Team Intel primarily runs is Wraith, Gibby, Bloodhound on the non-show match days, simply because the lobbies are kind of not as packed with the top tier teams. You can kind of take fights without as much risk of like really good third parties coming in fast. I think the comp is so strong because there's kind of a lot of different reasons. The Bloodhound allows for a scan, so you can instantly know where the zone's going to go and then play around that and like kind of plan your like attack. You can like farm where an edge of zone where you think, okay, well, no one's going to go there because they're going to be going towards zone, so we can get some isolated third parties. And then Gibraltar is just super strong. His bubble allows for such good isolated fights, and a team that really practices their bubble fights with Mastiffs and shotguns can literally just wipe you like that. It kind of doesn't matter how good you are sometimes. Your teammates, they can't take damage from it. They can get slowed and stunned, but I mean, if the other team's just getting pelted with it, it doesn't matter if you're slowed and stunned. You can go right in there and just clean up the kill super easily if they don't have like a Watson Gen down or a bubble down. And then Bloodhound with his scans, like if you give any top tier team wall hacks for 6 seconds or 4 seconds constantly for a minute, however long his ult is, I mean, a good player is going to abuse the heck out of that. So I think that's why it's kind of one of the top teams. And then end game, you obviously have Wraith Portal, you have Bubble, so you can have every good chance to win the game there as well.
drum roll for the leaderboards here. Were Team Intel able to do enough to secure their spot, secure their win during Pro Week? We've had one team, Pro Night, during their week. We've had one team that was able to do that, and that was, I believe, Nestle Pure Life during their week. But did Team Intel
For a lot of our competitors, but either way, Team Intel doing it big.
Yeah, big win for them. Even had a big night last night as well. And so ultimately winning this one out, $300 into their pocket, 200 going over to Cooler. Those are our two winners for the evening. They're not the only winners, of course. We still have the giveaway going right now, so make sure you get your last chance giveaway entries in. We're going to be drawing very shortly. They're in Twitch chat, so all you have to do is type in !giveaway and you will be entered in for the Intel swag bag. And so once again, I want to say congratulations to Team Intel along with Team Cooler. But that's really going to be do it for us this week. We will be back, of course, next week for more Series E, starting on Tuesday, 5 p.m. Pacific time, like always, here on the Esports Arena channel. So make sure, of course, you're following us. You've got notifications set, everything. You're also following us on Twitter for all of that information. That does it for us, though, for everyone here at Esports Arena, for all of our partner teams, our partner sponsors, Esports Arena, Tom and myself. Thank you all for tuning in. We will see you guys next week. Have a good weekend.